Chapter 1272. Kidok's Promise. Zhou looked at his first treasure vault and nodded in satisfaction. He was naturally very satisfied with this mythical tier unique lord talent. Firstly, the first talent effect, infinite space satisfied his need to store a large number of treasures. Needless to say, automatic pickup was a necessary ability. Sublimation was a very top-notch innate ability. As long as any treasure was damaged, it could be directly repaired in a day. 7 days later, it could be directly raised to the level of quality +1. In other words, a legendary tier treasure could become a low-tier deity level treasure after being placed in the first treasure vault for 7 days. High-tier deity level treasures could become true god tier treasures after being placed in the first treasure vault for 7 days. True god tier advanced grade treasures could become master god tier treasures after being placed in the first treasure vault for 7 days. Not to mention a master god tier. Even the 10 master god tiers would go crazy over this effect. Even existences at the supreme god realm would probably covet it. Even existences like the supreme god realm could not treat master god tier treasures as trash after all. Master god tier treasures were considered very good treasures to them. Moreover, the time to improve its quality was only 7 days. This was only 7 days. Even though 7 days was a long time for Zhou, 7 days was nothing to experts. The time they took to comprehend the laws at any time was calculated in hundreds or thousands of years. In other words, they could completely repair all the treasures they had after casually comprehending the laws 2 or 3 times. Then their quality would increase by 1. This increase was almost equivalent to increasing their wealth by more than 10 times. The fourth effect of this talent was even more shocking. In just a day, a god spirit level treasure could automatically be born in the treasure vault. In just 3 days, a true god tier treasure would automatically be born in the treasure vault. In just 7 days, a master god tier treasure would automatically be born in the treasure vault. Even Zhou, who had countless treasures, would be envious of such an effect. Even Supreme God Realm experts would crazily snatch this number 1 treasure vault because of this talent effect. The time to derive the treasure was too short after all. It could even be said to be ridiculously short. To those gods who had lived for countless years, they only needed 1,000 years to obtain 365,000 god spirit level treasures, about 120,000 true god tier treasures, and more than 52,000 master god tier treasures. He could do this in 1,000 years. What about 10,000 years? 100,000 years? It could be said that, with the existence of this first treasure vault, as long as he could continue living, even if he did not do anything, he could become the richest existence in the endless heavens. At the thought of this, Zhou could not help but gasp. He looked at the number 1 treasure vault in his hand, his eyes shining. This is my first treasure vault. The longer I have it, the more shocking the effect will be. You're the real late-stage Lord Talent. Zhou exclaimed. It was so even now. When it became a Supreme God Realm Lord Talent, wouldn't it be able to give birth to a Supreme God Realm treasure? What? Then even willpower level experts would probably go and snatch this first treasure vault? He thought to himself. With this in mind, he immediately decided that this Lord Talent had to be upgraded to the Supreme God Realm Lord Talent. After improving, the gains would definitely not disappoint him after all. At this moment, a god spirit guarding the door walked over. Reporting to your majesty, Your Excellency Time Divine Dragon is back. He said respectfully. Let him in. Zhou said. Yes, your majesty. The god spirit guarding the door said respectfully. Then he left. Soon the Time Divine Dragon Kyoto walked in. At the same time, he was accompanied by a true god tier advanced grade monster demon. It was the master of the Kidok Divine Kingdom, the legitimate son of monster demon Emperor King Kidotali, Kidok. As for the Lord of the Divine Kingdom, his eyes widened as soon as he entered, as if he had seen a ghost. He looked at Zhou in disbelief. Father. Father. He was dumbfounded. Zhou glanced at him indifferently. Boom. Kidok felt as if a hammer had struck his soul heavily. He immediately felt dizzy. At this moment, a faint but dignified voice sounded in his heart. Look carefully before you speak. Greetings. Your Excellency, common people's regal. Greetings, Emperor. Kid Doc endured the pain in his soul and said respectfully to Zhou. He had just secretly glanced at Zhou again and already knew what was going on. His father, Kid Otali, had been killed by the other party. This time, his death was different from before. The other party had even taken away the most important source of negative energy for the monster demon Emperor King. The heart of Kid Otali. That was the race divine artifact of the monster demons. Whoever obtained this race's divine artifact would directly become the emperor of the monster demon race. Now that Zhou had obtained it, he naturally became the emperor of the new monster demon race. As for his original king father, Kid Otali, even though he would not really die because of the undying characteristics of the monster demons, after he was reincarnated, he would naturally not have the identity of the monster demon Emperor King. At most, he would retain his strength when he was alive and become a top true god tier of the normal monster demons. From now on, Kid Otali's era was over. The monster demon Emperor King, who ruled the monster demon clan, was the common people's regal. After Zhou heard Kid Doc's words, he didn't say anything. Instead, he looked at Kyoto beside him. His gaze was very obvious. Why did you keep him? Just kill him. Your Majesty, one just received a revelation from fate. Keeping this monster demon will be of some use to your Majesty. So I made the decision to keep he and bring him to your Majesty. If your Majesty thinks that this fellow is useless, one will immediately deal with him. Kyoto said respectfully, Is this guy useful to me? Zhou was surprised and looked at Kid Doc again in surprise. What use could this guy be to me? Suddenly, he thought of something and looked at Kid Doc again. He flipped his right hand, and the monster demon Emperor King bloodline of Master God tier Advance grade appeared in his hand. As soon as Kid Doc saw the monster demon Emperor King bloodline in Zhou's hand, he could not move his gaze away. He stared straight at the monster demon Emperor King bloodline in Zhou's hand, as if it was very attractive to Kid Doc. You want it? Zhou smiled faintly. I want it. Kid Doc hesitated for a moment before telling the truth. It's not impossible to give it to you, but you have to make some contributions to make this emperor feel that you have the right to obtain this monster demon Emperor King bloodline. Zhou said calmly. Kid Doc fell silent and thought hard. After a while, Kid Doc's eyes suddenly lit up. He hurriedly said to Zhou, Your Excellency Regal, there are 4 other monster demon god kingdoms around our Kid Doc divine kingdom. They are the Red Monster Demon God Kingdom, the Bermula Monster Demon God Kingdom, the Piggyman Monster Demon God Kingdom, and the Zarab Monster Demon God Kingdom. I can go to them and help His Majesty incite surrender them. This way, His Majesty can obtain the forces of the 4 Monster Demon God Kingdoms without any effort. Chapter 1273 Fifth Clone, Zhou win. Kid Doc returns. Are you that confident? Zhou looked at him with interest. If it was in the past, I really wouldn't be so sure. But don't I still have you, Your Excellency? Your Excellency is now the emperor of our monster demon race. As the monster demon Emperor King, you still have a lot of deterrence in our monster demon race. Most of the monster demons in our monster demon race have a natural sense of respect for our monster demon Emperor King. I only need to use Your Majesty's name and the direct bloodline of the previous generation's monarch of the monster demon god kingdom. Unless they want to rebel, there's a high chance that the 4 monarchs of the monster demon god kingdom will surrender to Your Majesty. Kid Doc said respectfully. Zhou nodded. According to the inheritance of the monster demons in his mind, the monster demons indeed had a natural sense of reverence for the monster demon Emperor King. As the owner of the heart of Kid Otali, the origins of countless monster demons in the myriad worlds were almost all in the Kid Otali heart after all. Every time they died, they would be reborn in the Kid Otali heart until they were born in the myriad worlds again. For the monster demons, the monster demon Emperor King, who had the heart of Kid Otali, was almost equivalent to their mother. This was also the reason why the monster demon Emperor King was respected. You can try. If you can really do it, this bloodline of the monster demon Emperor King is yours. Zhou finally agreed. because he felt that if this monster demon Emperor King bloodline was used on Kidok, it might bring him some surprises. He had asked him to instigate the 4 forces of the monster demon god kingdom to join Insight Defection, because he wanted to find a reason to give the monster demon Emperor King's bloodline to them. "Thank you, Your Majesty." Kidok's eyes flashed with excitement as he immediately said respectfully, "However, you have to join our Blazing Sun Empire before that," Zhou said. Kidok was already prepared when he heard this. He immediately knelt down and said that he wanted to join the Blazing Sun Empire and become a subject of the Blazing Sun Empire. Anyway, this person was already the monster demon Emperor King, and could be considered one of them. What was so embarrassing about working under his race's emperor? Zhou nodded and waved his hand. Kidok understood and left. Zhou thought about it and felt that it might not be safe for Kidok to go alone. So he called over another soldier and asked him to order Kidok to bring a few spellcasters and a few lords of the Star Alliance when he went to the 4 monster demon god kingdoms. Spellcaster specialized in Insight Defection and was lucky to encounter a monster demon god lord who was not very smart. He might be able to use his glib tongue to trick the other party's entire divine kingdom over. He was not afraid even if he was unlucky, and even aroused the other party's killing intent. He would directly let the lords of the Star Alliance instigate Insight Defection in the monster demon god kingdom that wanted to attack once, and let them fight internally. This way, they could also save Kidok and the others' lives. With these 2 guarantees, Kidok's trip should be much more stable. "Your Excellency Kyoto, you really brought me a pleasant surprise." After Zhou made all the arrangements, he turned to look at Kyoto and smiled. "Actually, I suddenly had an omen in my heart. I thought that rather than killing this fellow, why don't I leave him alive to serve Your Majesty and squeeze him dry of his value? Perhaps this would be better for His Majesty's benefits. So I took the initiative to bring him to His Majesty. I hope Your Majesty can atone for your sins." Kyoto said respectfully, "Your Excellency, you're too kind." Zhou waved his hands. Then they chatted for a while more before Kyoto left. After Kyoto left, Zhou called Ji Yuan over and began to discuss the next attack. Because Kidok had gone to Insight Defection on his own, Zhou did not focus his attack on the 4 monster demon god kingdoms. Therefore, after discussing with Ji Yuan, he decided to return to the Blazing Sun Empire and continue expanding the territory around it. While the generals did not believe that Kidok was so capable as to bring back 4 monster demon god kingdoms, they did not object. They listened to his orders and directly led their troops back to the Blazing Sun Empire through the cross-border teleportation array of the Behemoth Divine Kingdom. Then, they continued to expand the surrounding territories of the Blazing Sun Empire. Zhou also made a trip. However, after using up his 10,000 Spirit Saint, he directly handed the military authority to Ji Yuan and returned. As the main body, even though his strength was enough to dominate the High Continent, he had already developed a habit, so he did not plan to continue following the army into battle. In any case, with his current teleportation ability, he could teleport to the army. Even if something happened, he could provide support in time. Therefore, he was not worried that something would happen to the army without him. However, he quickly thought of something else. Currently, I'm in charge of cultivating in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace. Zhou manages handling government affairs in the country. Zhou Fight and Zhou Marshall are fighting the activities of the Lord of the Race on the Cerulean planet. Zhou Tianming is doing a mission in the Myriad Worlds. If I don't follow the army to battle, even though I can teleport over at any time, this might interrupt my comprehension. Zhou pondered for a long time before muttering to himself, "Let's create another clone." Thinking of this, Zhou immediately used his talent, doppelganger technique, to create another clone. Soon, his 5th clone appeared in front of him. Zhou sensed the depletion of the origin in his body as he looked at the 5th clone in front of him with a calm expression. "Greetings, main body." The 5th clone smiled. Zhou signaled and said, "Your name is Zhou Win. Immediately assist the army to attack the territories of the people of foreign races around our country." "Okay." Zhou Wen nodded and turned to leave without hesitation. When Zhou saw this, he swallowed a few true god-tier divine medicines to replenish his origin while his divine sense clone entered the world of reincarnation to comprehend the Lord's laws. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, night fell. In the blazing sun imperial capital, in the imperial palace, Zhou Manage was dealing with government affairs. In the past 2 days, the territory of the Blazing Sun Empire had expanded rapidly, and because of this, many problems had arisen in the country. Most of the problems were caused by the different customs of the subjects. Over the past few days, Zhou Manage had been promulgating various policies for such matters to let the various races seek common ground and live in harmony. Therefore, even though Zhou Manage did not appear often in war, he was actually the busiest of all Zhou's clones. At this moment, an imperial palace guard quickly walked over and said respectfully, "Reporting to your majesty. Bizarre Demon God Nation Master, Kidok requests an audience." "Let him in." Zhou Manage wrote his opinion on the virtual memorial and uttered calmly, "Yes, your majesty." The guard retreated respectfully. Soon Kidok walked over. "Reporting to your majesty," Kidok said respectfully with an irrepressible smugness in his voice. "I've already convinced the 4 monster demon god kingdoms to join our Blazing Sun Empire." A look of surprise flashed across Zhou Manage's eyes. His will spread out silently and fused into Kidok's soul almost instantly. He began to look via Kidok's memories. Now his willpower realm was infinitely approaching the second realm of willpower, the soul formation realm. This realm was usually only possible for Supreme God realm experts. Therefore, via the power of will in this realm, it was naturally simple to read the memories of a true God tier advanced grade. After flipping via it, Zhou Manage understood. However, he was additionally a little surprised. He had underestimated the prestige of the Monster Demon Emperor King among the monster demons. Chapter 1274, Zhou, in the Villain Leader. Zhou flipped through Kidok's memories and learned that after Kidok went to the Monster Demon God Kingdoms to incite their surrender, the Monster Demon God Lords of the 4 Monster Demon God Kingdoms heard that the existence of incite surrender was the Monster Demon Emperor and Queen of their race. They immediately agreed without any hesitation. Then, they brought their divine kingdoms to join the Blazing Sun Empire that had joined Zhou. The spellcaster and Star Alliance Master that he had prepared for Kidok were actually useless. The Monster Demon Emperor King's prestige was so terrifying. Zhou was surprised. Below the stage, Kidok was still advocating the attack he had done by inciting their surrenders this time. He made himself sound like a decisive and brave hero. Zhou could not be bothered to expose the other party's bragging. Even though the Monster Demon Emperor King's reputation played a decisive role in this trip, the other party was more or less useful. At this moment, Kidok finally finished bragging about his credit and said respectfully, "Reporting to your majesty, the 4 god lords of the Monster Demon God Kingdom want to see your majesty." "Does your majesty want to see them?" "Let them come and see me." Zhou nodded. What did that mean? They were 4 divine kingdom god lords, existences standing at the peak of the myriad worlds after all. How could he not see them and not give them face if such an existence wanted to bring their divine kingdom to join his Blazing Sun Empire? He had to give them face. Kidok acknowledged respectfully and left the hall to find the 4 divine kingdom divine lords. Soon, the 4 god lords of the Monster Demon God Kingdom came over. Zhou glanced at the 4 monster demon god lords. The 2 god lords of the Monster Demon God Kingdom had the strength of a true god tier intermediate grade, while the other 2 god lords of the Monster Demon God Kingdom had the strength true god tier advanced grade. As for the Divine Kingdom Lord factions they controlled, they were all beginner level Divine Kingdom Lord factions. They were not even comparable to Kidok, the direct descendant of the Monster Demon Emperor King. The moment the 4 god lords of the Monster Demon God Kingdom saw Zhou, they immediately confirmed that the existence in front of them in the human skin was the Monster Demon Emperor King they had been thinking about day and night. "Your Majesty, I've finally seen you. Your Majesty, we've suffered a lot in your absence." "That's right, Your Majesty." Ever since you were killed by mini Master God Tyr, the situation of the monster demons has been getting worse and worse. Even though those who are hostile to us didn't kill us, they tried their best to suppress us and make our lives worse. As emissaries of destruction and fear, we haven't spread fear and destruction to a large scale in the myriad worlds for many years. Even if we secretly spread it, we can only spread it on a small scale. We don't dare to spread it on a large scale at all, afraid of attracting the attention of those guys. Now the king is back, and our sky is back. We can spread fear and destruction in the myriad worlds at will. The four divine kingdom lords first complained to Zhou with tears in their eyes. Then, their expressions changed as they excitedly discussed which worlds to spread fear and destruction to, and which enemies to counterattack. They did not notice Zhou's reaction at all, and were discussing it happily. Zhou was speechless. If others saw this scene and did not know the inside story, they would probably think that I am the head of the villain, right? That's not right. As the emperor of the monster demons, I am now a real villain. Could a messenger of light from some planet suddenly appear and attack him to uphold the justice of the myriad worlds? Zhou complained in his heart. Shut up. Zhou, who could not stand the content of their discussion, finally could not help but speak coldly. The four monster demon god lords were stunned. They looked at Zhou obediently, as if they did not know that they had said something wrong. In fact, from their standpoint of survival, spreading fear and destruction to the myriad worlds was a normal activity that was indispensable for them, just like how humans wanted to eat and sheep wanted to eat grass. However, as a normal life form, Zhou had his own stand. In order to protect his position and the survival of his race, he could only do wrong to the monster demons. However, he couldn't directly wrong the other party. He wanted to power harass them. Look at you guys. Zhou snorted coldly and said, spreading fear and destruction to ordinary life-form civilizations. Even if you do it, how much fear feedback will you obtain? A group of living beings with lives like grass. No matter how much fear they contribute, they're only low-end ingredients to us. Don't you want to try high-end ingredients? High-end ingredients? Kidok was stunned. The four monster demon god lords looked at each other. Then the red demon god lord carefully said, What do you mean, your majesty? This emperor intends to rebel against those top bloodline races. When the war begins, spread the fear of the monster demons to those top bloodline races. This emperor thinks that you should know how delicious the fear emitted by those true experts will be, right? Zhou smiled faintly. Kidok and the four god lords of the monster demon god kingdom were almost drooling. Of course, they knew the deliciousness emitted by those experts with top bloodlines. It was a delicacy that one would never forget for the rest of one's life, as long as one tasted it once. Kidok and the other monster god lords had tasted this delicacy a few times when the monster demons were at their peak, and they could not forget it even now. However, ever since Monster Demon Emperor King Kidotali died, they had never tasted such delicious food. They could only create destruction from ordinary life forms and taste the low-end delicacies emanating from them. The taste was far inferior. After a long time, these monster demon god lords recovered from their fantasies. Then, the monster demon god lord Burmula hesitated and said, The delicacy emitted by a powerhouse is indeed far from the delicacy of ordinary life forms. However, we can't afford to offend those experts either. They all have the protection of their race behind them. If we kill one, 10 stronger experts will come out to counterattack us. The other monster demon god lords also nodded in understanding. They had also had designs on those powerful races back then, yet later on, they were beaten up badly. You don't need to bother about this. Zhou said deeply. Since this emperor is now the monster demon emperor king, my soldiers would help you in spreading intimidation. From now on, order all the monster demons of the monster demon race not to harass ordinary life form civilizations. If you want to spread fear, follow this emperor and spread fear to the original spirit race, the chaos gods race, the shepherd's god race, the titan god race, and other top bloodline races. That's true ability. Monster demons who only dare to bully weak civilizations Don't blame this emperor for looking down on you. As the monster demon emperor king, Zhou words and actions were like holy words. His tone was already extremely serious. As long as this news spread, they would basically listen to his orders obediently unless any monster demon did not want to stay in the monster demon race anymore. Chapter 1275 Subduing the Monster Demon Race. Kidok absorbing the bloodline of the monster demon emperor king. When Kidok and the other monster demon god lords heard Zhou's words, their expressions immediately turned solemn, as they said respectfully in unison, "Well, heed your instructions." They were also a little excited. This new monster demon emperor king was much bolder than the previous monster demon emperor king. As monster demons, they naturally preferred such an emperor. Zhou nodded. In fact, he had asked these monster demons to attack the high-level bloodline races of the original spirit race, not only because he wanted to become the lord of all races, but also because the birth of monster demons was not caused by those weak ordinary life forms, but mainly by those powerful life forms who had the power to destroy the world. It was precisely because those powerful life forms casually used their terrifying power that caused the tragedy of living beings in countless worlds, that the negative energy in the myriad worlds increased and stacked at an astonishing speed. As a result, the negative energy accumulated more and more, and the monster demons were endless. Even the monster demons became stronger and stronger. Those high-level bloodline races did not reflect on their actions. Instead, they used violence to suppress the monster demons and brainwashed the weak races to restrain the weak supernatural power they mastered to restrain the birth and become stronger. As the life form of the race that controlled the strongest power, they were still unscrupulous when using extraordinary power and the power of the god spirits. They could use them however they wanted, saving the weak and suffering, destroying and wasting the benefits of the strong. This was the most obvious comparison between the strong and weak races in the myriad worlds. This was also the reason why many weak races hated those high-level bloodline races. However, they could not resist this situation even if they wanted to because they did not have enough power and was restricted by the higher races. As a result, the weak became even weaker, and the strong became more extravagant. Therefore, when Zhou, the top lord of the human race, appeared, they were so excited because they saw their race turn around and resist the future of those powerful races. At this moment, Zhou passed an order. In the next period of time, this emperor will instruct you to do something. That is to announce the emperor's existence to all the monster demons in the high continent and order them to submit to me. This emperor wants to unify all the monster demons in the high continent. Those who disobey will be the enemies of the monster demons. Will chase them away. In addition, this emperor will strip away the resurrection rights of those monster demons who are unwilling to submit. Kidok and the other 5 strange demon god lords shivered in unison. Then they said respectfully in unison, "Yes, your majesty." Once this order was given, most likely every single one of the monster demons would have to obey. There was no choice. Becoming enemies with all monster demons and getting chased away was too ruthless. There would basically be no place for them on the high continent if any of them were to receive this punishment. When the time comes, the life forms outside would not accept them, nor would the monster demon clan. Moreover, they would lose the right to resurrection in the heart of Kitotali, which basically meant a death sentence. Who would dare to resist this order? Zhou nodded his head with a light smile when he saw how respectful they were. It was too useful to blame the monster demon's natural revered status. He could actually make the other party so obedient. Zhou estimated that even if he did not have the Lord talent and other methods to increase loyalty like the peaceful times, just the identity of the monster demon emperor king was enough to make these monster demon god lords listen to his orders wholeheartedly. In addition, gathering the monster demons of the high continent was only the first step in his plan. If the monster demon clan becomes strong again, they would be a pretty good source of combat power. When the time was right, he would gather all the monster demons everywhere to become a sharp blade in his hand against those top-grade bloodlines. Do this as soon as possible. This emperor will send a Cosmos Emperor to you and let you gather the monster demons on the high continent as soon as possible. This emperor will give you a maximum of 10 days. This emperor wants to see a united monster demon race after 10 days. Zhou said calmly. Yes, Your Majesty. Kid Doc and the other 5 monster demon god lords immediately felt a sense of urgency. Gathering all the monster demons in the high continent in 10 days? This was too short. They were worried, but they did not dare to disobey the first order of this new monster demon emperor king. They could only rack their brains to think of a way while listening respectfully. Zhou could tell what they were thinking from their expressions. However, he didn't explain. After they saw the speed of Cosmos Emperor, they would naturally know that 10 days was not short. Then, Zhou chatted with them. For a while before, he let the 4 monster demon god lords leave. Only Kid Doc was left in the hall. Zhou saw Kid Doc's expectant expression and did not say much. He directly threw a portion of the monster demon emperor king's bloodline to him. Thank you, Your Majesty. Kid Doc was overjoyed when he saw the monster demon emperor king's bloodline in front of him. As the legitimate offspring of the previous monster demon emperor king, Kidotali, he had the bloodline of a master god tier elementary grade. That was why he had the strength of true god tier advanced grade. However, at this level, he felt that it was increasingly difficult to make another breakthrough. This was a breakthrough of a major realm after all. He still needed to reach the will-like light realm to officially advance. He had enough potential and had accumulated enough promotion energy. What he lacked was a breakthrough in the willpower realm. However, he was still unable to break through this hurdle. Now that he had the monster demon emperor king's bloodline, he was confident that he could raise his potential from an elementary grade to an advanced grade master god tier. At that time, with the potential and comprehension of an advanced grade master god tier, as well as the inheritance of the monster demon emperor king in the lineage of the monster demon emperor king, he was confident that he could comprehend the will-like light realm within 1,000 years and officially become a master god tier. At the thought of this, he looked at the black-purple heart in his hand, his eyes burning. At this moment, Zhou's voice sounded in his heart. Since I've already obtained the bloodline, then take it immediately. Let me observe how much you, the legitimate son of Kidotali, can improve after using the lineage of the monster demon emperor king. Kid Doc looked at Zhou in a daze, then looked around awkwardly. Here. He wanted to go back and find a quiet place to absorb the monster demon emperor king's bloodline. However, the emperor's order would be able to not be refused, so Kid Doc could only nod and agree. In any case, it was just absorbing a lineage of the same origin. There shouldn't be any problems. He no longer hesitated. He held the black-purple heart and approached his heart. The next second, the black-purple heart turned into countless black-purple light spots and rushed into Kid Doc's heart. At first, Kid Doc looked pleasantly surprised and relaxed before his expression suddenly changed. Aha! He roared at the sky in pain and fell to the ground, rolling around in pain. Zhou watched the scene coldly, as if he had expected it. Chapter 1276, Kidotali's Return. War Summary. Your Majesty, save me. Kid Doc widened his eyes and reached out his trembling hand to Zhou, as if Zhou was his last life-saving straw. Zhou looked at Kid Doc calmly. After a long time he nodded. Kid Doc immediately revealed a relieved smile when he saw this. It was as if he was very assured of Zhou's promise, and did not resist at all. It was not that he did not resist. It was mainly because Kid Doc knew that he could not resist. In that case he might as well give up. In any case, His Majesty would save him later. Kid Doc, who had given up resisting, quickly lost consciousness and lay quietly on the ground. A moment later, Kid Doc suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were blood-red and tyrannical. They were filled with an endless desire to destroy, as if he wanted to spread fear in the name of him to the world. He instantly disappeared and appeared in front of Zhou again. However, the current him had actually changed into a black robe and looked mysterious and dignified. Welcome back, Your Excellency Kidotali. Zhou smiled faintly. That's right. The person standing in front of Zhou was no longer Kid Doc, but his king father, the previous monster demon emperor king, Kidotali. Kidotali looked at Zhou with a complicated expression. After a long while, he knelt on one knee and respectfully said, "Kidotali greets my king." Having lost the heart of Kidotali, he naturally understood that he was no longer the monster demon emperor king of the past, but an ordinary monster demon true god tier, who occupied the body of his descendants' bloodline. He even lost his master god tier strength. "Your Excellency Kidotali, how about joining this emperor's empire?" Zhou said. "I will do my best," Kidotali said without hesitation. No matter what grudge he had with Zhou, as long as the heart of Kidotali was in Zhou's hands, he and the entire monster demon race would fight for Zhou. This was something that the entire monster demon race would not hesitate to do. No, it should not be called the heart of Kidotali now. It should be called the heart of the monster demon emperor king. Once he obtained it, he would undoubtedly become the monster demon emperor king. Zhou nodded slightly. He clicked his tongue in wonder. This monster demon emperor king's heart was really useful. Then, he recalled something and waved his right hand. A divine master token flew out of Kidotali's body and landed in front of Zhou. He looked at the master god's token. This master god's token was Kidok's identity symbol. Even though the materials used to make it were relatively rare, it was actually useless. It could only be used as Kidok's relic now. He threw the Divine Lord token into the air, and then used the Great Resurrection spell. Emerald green light quickly spread out with the Divine Master token as the center. Soon, a confused monster demon appeared in the sky above the hall. It was Kidok. Kidok, who had just been resurrected, was still a little confused. However, when Fai saw Zhou, who was looking at him with a faint smile, and Kidotali, who looked calm and even a little indifferent, he instantly recalled all his memories. "Thank you, Your Majesty, for reviving me." Kidok looked at Zhou gratefully. "This emperor will do what I promised," Zhou said calmly. Kidok nodded hard and looked at Kidotali. He remembered that the other party had taken over his divine body, and could not help but grit his teeth. "My good king father." Kidok gritted his teeth, his eyes burning with anger. He originally thought that it was his fortuitous opportunity, but he did not expect it to take his life. Furthermore, it was his father who took his life. This was quite explosive among the monster demons. "How dare you look at me like that?" Kidotali glanced at him indifferently. Kidok lowered his head unwillingly. "Kidotali," Zhou said, "you're now a true god tier advanced grade. When can you recover to your former peak strength?" "Your Majesty." Kidotali's indifferent expression suddenly became very respectful. "With the heart of the monster demon emperor king providing me with endless negative energy, as long as you give me enough divine power to recover resources, one can recover my strength as master god tier advanced grade in 2 days. In 7 days, I can recover my master god tier intermediate grade strength. In a month, one can recover my peak strength as master god tier advanced grade." Zhou nodded in satisfaction. As expected of the monster demon emperor king of the previous generation, the speed at which he recovered his strength was far from what the Blood Moon Sun could compare to. "Tell this emperor the divine power recovery resources you need," Zhou said. "Thank you, Your Majesty." Kidotali thanked him, and then told him the divine power recovery resources he needed one by one. Zhou memorized them one by one. After Kidotali finished speaking, he took them out of his first treasure vault and gave them to him. "Open a random seclusion place in this emperor's divine kingdom world and recover your strength," he said. "Yes, Your Majesty." Kidotali did not hesitate at all. After receiving the divine power recovery resources, he immediately turned around and left. When Zhou saw this, his gaze landed on Kidok, who had a complicated expression. "Don't think too much. Whatever your father does doesn't matter anymore. Anyway, you're still alive now. You got what you wanted. If you have the time to be conflicted, why don't you think about how to subdue all the monster demons in the Supreme Continent?" he asked. "Your Majesty is right." Kidok took a look at the word's potential, that he had become a master god tier advanced grade. He exhaled and said respectfully, "His Majesty was right. He had indeed not lost anything. Instead, he had benefited a lot. There was indeed no need to be conflicted. At this moment, he thought of something and hurriedly said respectfully, "Your Majesty, when my father, Your Excellency Kidotali recovers his strength, can you let him subdue the monster demons on the high continent with me? With him around, the speed at which we subdue the monster demons will definitely be much faster." Sure. Zhou agreed without hesitation. He currently had 5 clones, and each clone could unleash the combat power of a Master God tier. He did not care if he had a Master God tier combat power like Kidotali beside him. "Thank you, Your Majesty." Kiddock hurriedly thanked him. Then, he didn't say anything else and left. Not long after he left, Zero sent Zhou the list of today's war. Zhou looked at it. In the entire day, the High Continent and Cerulean Planet had eliminated a total of more than 1.8 trillion enemies, 31,000 god spirits, and more than 100 true god tier. The reason why the number of enemies they eliminated suddenly decreased so much was mainly because they did not kill many enemies in the High Continent. Most of them surrendered without even thinking of resisting when they saw the Blazing Sun Empire coming. Especially the 5 monster demon god kingdoms. He took them all down almost effortlessly. It was also because of this that among the enemies eliminated today, other than a small number that Zhou Wen led the army to expand the Blazing Sun Empire's territory, most of the other enemies were eliminated by the Cerulean Planet. Chapter 1277, War Summit. Supreme Conquest Effect. It was worth mentioning that today was the 3rd day of the first stage of the Lord of the Races activity. At noon, Bai Yun led the Eternal Mothership to the location of the Cerulean Planet. With the help of a large number of reinforcements from the Eternal Mothership, Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu had killed so many enemies today. Otherwise, they would have killed even fewer. After killing so many enemies, he obtained trillions of mist cores, origin crystals, skill books, equipment, basic materials, basic gem resources, lightning, life and death elemental gems. 1,811,021,125 green bronze tier Lord Talent crystal fragments. 102 legendary tier, and below Scarlet Lord Talent spheres, and a large number of other Lord Talent crystal fragments. Time elemental gem resources were more than 6,213 million units. Space elemental gems were more than 6,563 million units. More than 365 billion units of divine crystals, from the low-tier deity level to the high-tier deity level. 31,120 true god-tier divine crystals. More than 632 million low-level to high-tier deity-level divine artifacts. 6,800 true god-tier divine artifacts. 8 master god-tier divine artifacts. There were a total of more than 80 million divine spark fragments, god-tier medicinal herbs, god-tier ingredients, god-tier ores, god-tier blueprints, and other treasures. 65,805 master god-tier level god-tier herbs, god-tier ingredients, god-tier ores, god-tier blueprints, and other treasures. Zhou's gaze landed on the 776 billion spacetime elemental gem. He actually obtained so many time and space elemental gems. Zhou was a little surprised. He opened it and took a look before understanding. It turned out that so many spacetime elemental gems were provided by Kiddock and the other god lords of the monster demon god kingdom. The monster demons did not value the development of civilization. Therefore, the space-time elemental gems, a series of other gems, and various items and resources to build the divine kingdom that they had plundered from the war, had almost never been used. Now that they had joined the Blazing Sun Empire, these things were all given to Zhou. There's actually such a benefit in attacking the monster demons. Zhou looked a little surprised. He did not even think of that. Then, he laughed. This was really a pleasant surprise. I already have 13,221,000,000 time and space elemental gems. I'm only more than 6 billion space-time elemental gems away from the 20 billion space-time elemental gems needed to upgrade. In at most 2 days, no maybe a day, I'll be able to gather the requirements to upgrade my territory and raise it to the high-tier deity level elementary grade. Zhou thought. Then, he looked at the list of insight defections and god spirits. In the entire day, he, and the 312 lords of the Star Alliance under him, had a total of 3,120,012,000,012. 6 million soldiers of the people of foreign races, 15,450 god spirits of the people of foreign races, and 78 true god tiers. In addition, in the army under him, 10,600 legendary tier soldiers had advanced from legendary tier advanced grade to low-tier deity level elementary grade, and 19 high-tier deity level advanced grade god spirits had advanced to true god tier elementary grade god spirits. Zhou's original military strength was 1,628,774,691,472,446 soldiers, 3,576,671 god spirits, and 1,713 true gods. The number of soldiers under him had already reached 1,634,595,903,825,649 soldiers. In terms of the number of god spirits, there were 3,599,303 god spirits, and 1,847 true gods. Zhou looked at the insight defection list and shook his head with a smile. The reason why the insight defection had so few troops was because the Lord factions that they had instigated today were mostly Empire Tier Lord factions. Ordinary Empire Tier Lord factions usually had between 1 billion to 100 billion troops. There were only 312 in total for the Star Alliance Masters under him. According to the legendary tier insight defection, a 40% insight defection rate was at most 3 to 4 trillion. The difference between legendary tier insight defection and mythical tier 10,000 spirit saint is too great. The 10,000 spirit saint can instigate an insight defection on the entire enemy faction. As for legendary tier and below insight defection, they can only incite a single lord faction in the entire enemy. In the face of a trillion terabyte enemy, a 10,000 spirit saint, can induce an insight defection to 4 to 5 trillion. As for the Star Alliance Master, who has grasped the legendary tier insight defection, he can only designate one of the Lord factions first, and then instigate 40% of the troops in the insight defection. After 2 reductions, it's already not bad if he can instigate 400 to 500 billion. The difference is about 10,000 times. Zhou sighed. He felt that configuring legendary tier insight defection for the Lords of the Star Alliance did not seem to help them improve much. Should he change all of them to legendary tier blessing of the war god? Zhou thought. However, he felt that the difference was not big. He thought about it and found it a little difficult to choose. In the end, he simply opened the Star Alliance Master Group chat and asked for everyone's opinion. What surprised him was that all the Star Alliance Masters were very determined to continue using legendary tier insight defection. This was because as lords they liked having more troops. Moreover, the more the better. As for the quality of the individual soldiers, would it be dangerous if they were weak? They were all fighting alongside His Majesty, so why should they worry about safety? Seeing this, Zhou did not change their lord talent. Then, he brought up the situation on Zhou Fight's side. For the entire day, Zhou Fight led the soldiers to expand in the morning, and conquered a total of 2 true God tier lord factions, the Empire tier lord faction protected by the true God, and a total of 107 lord factions of the Lord of all races. He obtained a total of 210,700,000 hegemony points, and 107,800 obscure lordship points. At noon, the Eternal Mothership led an army of more than 500 trillion troops, more than 1 million god spirits, and more than 700 true god tiers to descend. With so many troops and the help of god spirits, the efficiency of Zhou Fight and the others' expansion increased by 100 times. In just an afternoon, they had conquered the 3 surrounding Divine Kingdom Lord factions, more than 160 Empire Tier Lord factions, and a total of 1,031 Lord factions of the myriad races. He obtained a total of 19,319,150,000 hegemony points and 1,025,000 obscure lordship points. Previously, Zhou had a total of 1,126,320 hegemony points and 456,900 obscure lordship points. Now, including the hegemony points and obscure lordship points obtained from these 2 rounds of battle, Zhou now had a total of 20,615,652,000 hegemony points and 1,589,700 obscure lordship points. Zhou nodded slightly when he saw this number. With so many hegemony points and obscure lordship points, he should be able to occupy 100 million points of advantage in the following activities, right? Then, he checked the statistical table that Zheng Yuanqi had just sent over regarding yesterday's Supreme Conquest effect. New subject: non-professionals, professionals, heroes, god spirits, true god tier, statistics, non-professional subjects. 81,252,054,850,000,000. Professionals: life plus battle 3,598,020,780,980,000. Heroes: 1,308,500. God spirits: low god plus mid-tier deity level plus high-tier deity level 351,545. True god tier: 25 true god tier elementary grade god spirits, 10 true god tier intermediate grade god spirits, 2 true god tier advanced grade god spirits. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. The effect of the Supreme Conquest was still very powerful. Chapter 1278 3,000 trillion troops. Zhou thought about it and decided to place these professionals and god spirits in the Homeland Defense Army to protect the Blazing Sun Empire's territory. As for the main combat army, they did not lack these soldiers and god spirits for the time being, so there was no need to add more soldiers and god spirits into it for the time being. The Blazing Sun Empire was the foundation after all. If there was a mistake in the basics, it would be useless no matter how many glorious battle achievements he had obtained outside. In the following period of time, Zhou and Zhou Sheng comprehended the Lord's Law in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace at the same time. The former comprehended the Lord Law itself, while the latter specialized in studying Lord Law skills. If the two of them comprehended it together, the efficiency would double. The next day, at 4 o'clock in the morning, in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace, Zhou opened his eyes and saw the projection of the Universal Sky Tablet. He and Zhou Wen, who had woken up at the same time, looked at each other and smiled. The effect of this Universal Sky Tablet is really not bad. Zhou Wen said. That's right. Zhou nodded in agreement. It's almost equivalent to a small supreme domain. He had become a god spirit through the extremely shocking reign of laws in the supreme domain, established his divine kingdom, and even comprehended his second Lord's Law skill, Myriad Methods Star Palm. Now, he had used a small supreme domain to describe the Universal Sky Tablet. It could be seen how helpful this thing was in comprehending laws. I already have the feeling of the third Lord's Law skill. I can comprehend the third Lord's Law skill in no more than 3 days. Zhou Wen said. Zhou nodded. Then, the two of them conversed for a while more before Zhou Wen got up and went to the army. Zhou also went straight to Mugu and obtained the soldier-type recruitment books and the spoils of war from Wuxia, who had already finished his battle in the Scarlet Broodmother. Then, he and Wuxia split up and arrived at the Gate of Summoning. He spent 100 mid-tier deity-level divine crystals to summon 512 trillion new recruits. Then, he spent another 100 mid-tier deity-level divine crystals to summon today's new subjects. A total of 30,134,652 new subjects were summoned. Among them were 11 mid-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirits, 5 low-tier god spirits, and 1 high-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirit. As usual, Zhou integrated all the professionals and god spirits of the subjects summoned from these gates of summoning into the Homeland Defense Army. Then, Zhou summoned the 666,666,666 pure-blooded dragons in the original dragon abyss again. Unfortunately, he did not summon the legendary dragon race again. However, Zhou was already used to it and did not care at all. It would naturally be best if it came, but his territory was not lacking in such a pure-blooded dragon even if it did not. Including the soldiers on Wu Xin's side who changed their profession, the total military strength under my command has already reached 3,888,837. 5,095. 69,001,689. 3,641,350 God spirits, and 1,944 true God tiers. In another 3 to 5 days, my soldiers will be able to break through 10,000 trillion. Even the Scarlet Army that AUS led to invade the High Continent previously is inferior to me in terms of numbers. Zhou's eyes lit up. Even though he was now inferior to the AUS army in terms of the number of God spirits and true God tier, at least in terms of numbers, he already had more hope of surpassing the other party. He stood rooted to the ground, his emotions surging for a while. Then, he appeased his mood and headed to the Lord's shop. When he arrived at the Lord's shop, Zhou Qingmin was drinking tea at the door. When he saw Zhou, he stood up slowly and smiled. "Greetings, Your Majesty. Are there any goods today? Please don't be goods that I'm not interested in like before, alright?" Zhou said. The goods from the past few days made him not even have the desire to buy them. "Your Majesty, it's not that our goods are bad, but your standards are too high now." Zhou Qingmin smiled bitterly. Zhou waved his hand dismissively. Seeing this, Zhou Qingmin could only take out the goods from under the counter and open them one by one. Zhou looked over, and he saw 2 books of the God Spirit, and they could be used by others. The first book of the God Spirit was the Book of Gods of the previous monster demon Emperor King, Kidotali, who was a Master God tier advanced grade. The second book, Book of the God Spirit, was the Book of the Gods of the true God tier advanced grade God Behemoth Collier. As for the third item, it was the monster demon Emperor King bloodline of Master God tier advanced grade. He shook his head after reading them. Frankly speaking, these 3 items were already very top-notch. However, Zhou still felt that it was tasteless, and it was a pity to abandon it. Most importantly, he had 2 of the 3 goods. Forget it. I can at least give them to my subordinates. It is not all losses. Zhou reminded himself. How much are these 3 goods? Zhou asked. The Book of the God Spirit by the previous monster demon Emperor King, Kidotali, a Master God tier advanced grade, is worth 20 Master God tier advanced grade divine crystals. The Book of the God Spirit by the true God tier advanced grade Almighty Behemoth, Collier, is worth 10 true God tier advanced grade divine crystals. The monster demon Emperor King bloodline of a Master God tier advanced grade is worth 10 Master God tier advanced grade divine crystals. Zhou Qingmin said seriously. Zhou nodded and took out 20 Master God tier and 10 true God tier divine crystals to buy these 3 items. Then he turned around and threw them into the military merit exchange system. Bye-bye. Zhou waved at Zhou Qingmin and turned to leave. I really miss His Majesty from back then. Zhou Qingmin looked at Zhou's back and sighed in his heart. Then he walked back to the shop and continued playing games. At the same time, Kidok was leading the 4 Divine Kingdom Divine Lords to travel the entire Blazing Sun Imperial capital. The matter of subduing the monster demons of the entire High Continent could not be rushed, so he was not in a hurry to do it immediately. Instead, he planned to see what His Majesty's country was like first. After a while, these 4 true God-tier monster demons had scanned through more than half of the entire imperial capital. Rumor has it that the Blazing Sun Empire is a paradise of peace in the High Continent. I didn't believe it at first. How can there be any so-called paradise of peace in the myriad worlds? But now I believe it. Bermula said with emotion. It's indeed a paradise of peace. The monster demon god Lord Red twitched his nose and shook his head. We've walked more than half of the Blazing Sun Imperial capital, but I actually don't smell any negative energy. There will be a lot of negative energy accumulated in the hearts of life forms, even in the peaceful country I've seen before. However, there's actually pitifully little negative energy in His Majesty's imperial capital. I don't want to stay here anymore. The monster demon god Lord Piggyman frowned. I feel that if I continue to stay here, my strength and realm will decrease. The hearts of every life form in this place are filled with hope and beauty for the future. Even if we use negative energy law skills, it will probably be very difficult to draw out much negative energy. Ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Kidok also sighed. The monster demons would not want to invade such a country, also if such a country was placed in front of them. There was no other reason. It was really tiring and unrewarding. They might also be obliterated. This place is so peaceful and blissful that it doesn't also seem like a country of life forms. Reed sighed. It's simply like paradise in the legends of the God-Spirit religion. Only those believers who believe in pure faith can survive in those heavenly kingdoms, so they look happy. However, the people living here are all ordinary life forms. This place is like heaven on earth. Unbelievable. It might be related to the war. Bermula was deep in thought. Because of the conflict in the outside world, the people living here know that it's not easy to come here, so they cherish the peace and happiness here also more. When there's a comparison, life forms will know how precious some things are. The other monster demon god lords nodded. Let's go, let's go. We can't stay here for long. In the future, we have to apply to His Majesty to let us stay in our own divine kingdom. Otherwise, we might just drop dead one day if we stay here for a long time. This place is too terrifying. The few monster demon god lords cursed and left. Chapter 1279 The second stage of the Lord of the Race event. Base camp. At the same time, at the Central Emperor Palace, Zhou sat on the throne and quietly waited for the second activity of the Lord of the Race to begin. Under the hall, Bai Yin and the other generals were ready. Zhou called them all back, so that they could discuss the countermeasures for the event later, in order to prepare for the second stage of the event. A moment later, it was 6 o'clock sharp. The next second, a text notification appeared in front of all the Lord of all races, including Zhou. Attention all lords. The first stage of the activity of the Lord of the Race has officially ended. First of all, congratulations to all the lords who have survived and obtained the title of Lord of the Race of various grades. You have passed the first round of selection for this event. It has proven that you are lords of your own race, who can be said to have passable results, and are qualified to enter the second stage of the event. In the next second stage of the Lord of the Race's activity, as the representatives of your respective races, you will face more challenging and dangerous new activities for the survival and future of the race behind you. After experiencing these challenges, the lords who can still survive will be one step closer to the position of Lord of all races. May the lords kill your enemies and step on their corpses to reach the end. Those who stand tall after experiencing all kinds of wars are the winners. Now, I'll begin to announce the specific rules of the second activity of the Lord of the Race. The theme of this event is Base Camp. In the territory of your races, a Pagod-style headquarters will appear. The headquarters will protect the gate of summoning of the Lord of all races. The lords of all races will use their respective territories as a defense base. They will set up various defenses around their base camp to defend against the enemy's invasion. Every time you successfully defend against an enemy invasion, you can obtain a certain amount of hegemony points. Those who have spare strength can take the initiative to send troops to invade the surrounding enemies in the starry sky outside of defense. Occupying the base camp of the other lord's territories is equivalent to successfully occupying a local territory and depriving the other party of its lord qualifications and all the hegemony points and obscure lordship points it has. In addition, occupying the territories of other lord factions will also obtain a large number of hegemony points and a small number of obscure lordship points. Duration of this event 10 days. During the duration of the event, the Lord of all races ranking and the obscure lordship function will appear on the Lord function panel of the Lords of all races. The hegemony points obtained by the Lords of all races during the event will determine your specific ranking on the Lord of all races rankings. After the event time ends, the final ranking order of the Lords of all races on the rankings will determine what rewards you will obtain. The higher the ranking, the better the reward. If not, the worse it is. Lords who have not entered the top 1 trillion will not be able to appear on the rankings and will not be able to obtain the rewards of the hegemony rankings. However, if they can survive until the end of the event, they will obtain the participation award. When the second stage of the Lord of the Race event ends, the Lords ranked 1,000 to 10,000 will obtain the basic base camp treasure chest. The Lords ranked 100 to 999 will obtain a good base camp treasure chest. The Lords ranked 100 to 999 will obtain an outstanding base camp treasure chest. The Lords ranked 4th to 9th will obtain the perfect base camp treasure chest. The Lord ranked 3rd will obtain the number 3 base camp treasure chest. The Lord ranked 2nd will obtain the number 2 base camp treasure chest. The Lord ranked 1st will obtain the number 1 base camp treasure chest. The above Lords who entered the rankings will unlock the title effect of their respective Lord of the Race after the event ends. During the second stage of the Lord of the Races event, the resources and personnel of the Lords of the Myriad race can be doubled. 10 days later, the Lord of any race with the title of the Lord of the Race in the second stage will be qualified to enter the third stage of the event, Universe Battlefield. This is the Lord's personal event notification. Lord of the Race event Tip 1. Your Lord panel has opened a new function, the Lord of all races competition list. Your current ranking on the list is NO. 1. Lord of the Race event Tip 2. Your Lord interface has a new function, Hidden Lord Shop function. You can obtain the shop goods you want by spending the obscure Lord shop points you obtained. Lord of the Race event Hint 3. Since your territory is a mid-tier deity level advanced grade territory, you can transfer up to 20 billion Black Iron tier citizens, /20 billion units of Black Iron tier materials, and 2 billion Green Bronze tier citizens, /2 billion units Green Bronze tier supplies, 200 million White Silver tier citizens, /200 million units of White Silver tier supplies, 20 low-tier deity level God spirits, /20 units of low-tier deity level supplies, 2 mid-tier deity level God spirit /2 unit of mid-tier deity level supplies go to Cerulean planet /Earth every day. Lord of the Race event Hint 4. As you have obtained the title of the strongest Novice Lord in the Novice Lord test, the subjects and resources you can transfer every day have an additional plus 100%. Lord of the Race event Hint 5. As you have obtained the title of the strongest Lord of all races during the Myriad Races Lord Battlefield event, the subjects and resources you can transmit every day have an additional plus 100%. Lord of the Race event Hint 6. As you have obtained the title of the King of 10,000 Kings in the King of 10,000 Kings event, the subjects and resources you can transfer every day have an additional plus 100%. Lord of the Race event Hint 7. As you are favored by the Supreme Will, the subjects and resources you can transmit every day plus 100%. Lord of the Race event Tip 8. As you are ranked first in the first stage of the Lord of the Race event, the subjects and resources you can transfer every day have increased by 500%. Lord of the Race event Hint 9. Since you are the Scarlet natural enemy, you are naturally hostile to the Lord of Scarlet. The number of fog monsters born around your territory will increase by plus 1000%, and there is a very small probability of attracting the mist sources. Zhou gaze landed on the content of the new event. After reading it, he fell into deep thought. So this is the base camp. It's a little like the tower defense strategy game I used to play. Protect the base headquarters while carrying out the Insight defection war, right? He only paid attention to the content at the beginning of the event. As for the rest of the content, he stopped reading it after taking a look. His eternal mothership had already brought over 5 trillion troops, more than 1 million god spirits, more than 700 true god tiers, and countless resources. This extra transmit of supplies and personnel was meaningless to him. At this moment, in the main hall, Bai Yin seemed to have received some news. After listening for a while, she stood up and stated respectfully, "Your Majesty, just now, a green bronze tier tower suddenly surfaced out of thin air around the gate of summoning on the cerulean planet. This green bronze tier tower protects the gate of summoning in the center, but it doesn't affect the entry and exit of the people in the gate of summoning for the time being." Chapter 1280 General Race Divine Artifact, Venus. Hegemony Rankings. Zhou nodded. This should be the base camp mentioned in the event. What they had to do next was to protect this base camp from outsiders, and protect their race's territory. However, this was only the basic requirement of this event. If he wanted to stand out and enter the Lord of all Races rankings, or even the first place on the rankings, after completing the basic requirements, he would have to make a fuss about going out. He directly copied and activated the content of the event announced by the Supreme will to the generals and ministers present. Let's take a look and discuss what to do. After the generals and ministers finished reading the content of the event, they discussed in low voices. When Zhou saw this, he took advantage of this time to open the Lord of all Races rankings. The second stage of the Lord of the Races event, Lord of all Races rankings. Number 1. Human Race, Mortal Lord, Hegemony Points. 20,615,652,000 Hegemony Points. Number 2. True Spirit Stars Original Spirit Race, True Lord, Hegemony Points. 615,121,205 Hegemony Points. Number 3. Golden Crow Region Chaos Gods Race, Great One Lord, Hegemony Points. 58,634,100 Hegemony Points. Number 4. Godly King Planet, Shepherd's God Race, Heaven Chasing Lord, Hegemony Points. 436,061,600 Hegemony Points. When Zhou saw this ranking and the hegemony points of top bloodline races like the original spirit race, he could not help but narrow his eyes. These guys actually have hundreds of millions of hegemony points. Something is wrong. Normally speaking, even if they were like him and immediately went to conquer the other lord factions of the myriad races, after fighting for the title of the first stage of the Lord of the Race, it was impossible for them to obtain so many hegemony points in 3 days. Having hundreds of millions of hegemony points could only prove one thing. They had gone to attack the Empire Tier Lord faction. Only by conquering an Empire Tier Lord faction could they obtain hundreds of millions of hegemony points at once. However, with their current strength, it was absolutely impossible for them to have the strength to attack an Empire Tier Lord faction. This was not because Zhou was conceited. It was what Zhou had learned after compiling information on many aspects and asking Bodhi Supreme. It seems that the race behind them has helped them. Zhou thought unsurprised. When Zhou found out that the Supreme Will did not restrict the races behind the Lords of the Races from helping them during this Lord of the Race event, he had expected the current situation. It's a pity. They won't be able to defeat me even with their help. Zhou's expression was calm and confident. Even though the people of foreign races had the main force of the race behind them, so what? He was his greatest backer. Then, he opened the Obscure Lord shop interface, and immediately trembled when he saw the first item in the Obscure Lord shop interface. There's actually such a thing. Obscure Lord shop. Day 1. Time-limited open goods Venus. Universal Race Divine Artifact. Number. Unique. The upper limit of the potential of all living beings in the race that possesses this Universal Race Divine Artifact has increased by a large level. The upper limit of the potential increase is a Master God tier advanced grade. When undergoing a major realm breakthrough, the probability of breaking through will increase by 10%. Sale price. 2 million Obscure Lord shop points. Note. This item will be taken off the shelves in 3 days. Lords who want to buy it, please buy it before the item is taken off the shelves. It's actually another racial divine artifact that can increase the upper limit of a life form's potential. Moreover, it can increase the probability of successfully breaking through a major realm. Most importantly, it doesn't restrict the use of races. Zhou took a deep breath. There were no restrictions on races, which meant that no matter which race obtained it, they could directly use it. Unlike his Sun-Moon Star Sword, only the humans of the cerulean planet could be affected by its effect. This race divine artifact was a super divine artifact that could increase the upper and lower limits of all living beings of a race. Whether it was a weak race or a powerful race, they would want it crazily. This effect was too ridiculous. I'm afraid the racial factions in the outside world are about to go crazy after seeing this racial divine artifact, right? Zhou thought. However, a look of determination flashed in his eyes. No matter what obstacles he encountered, he had to obtain this race's divine artifact. With a race divine artifact like Venus, coupled with his Xian Yuan divine sword, the potential of the subjects under him could directly increase by 2 levels. This meant that even the Black Iron tier humans with the worst potential under him would have a chance to advance to the White Silver tier in the future. Those with Epic tier potential had a chance of becoming a god spirit. Even though he had some Lord talents that could allow subjects with limited talent to forcefully break through the potential bottleneck and advance to a higher level through life and death battles and researching life professions, however, this was not as direct as increasing his potential. Zhou felt that it was safer to directly increase his potential. However, I only have more than 158 million obscure Lord shop points now. There's still some distance to exchange. He frowned slightly. He had to save up more. Fortunately, even he could not reach this number, so he was not worried that the other Lord of all races could reach it in advance. At the same time, when the many races and factions in the outside world, especially the top races and factions, saw Venus, this universal race divine artifact, just as Zhou had thought, they almost immediately proceeded crazy. Titan Sanctuary, Titan Continent. A vast and dignified voice spread throughout the entire high continent. The Patriarch has ordered, at all costs, obtain the universal race divine artifact Venus. As long as we obtain this universal race divine artifact, our Titan God race will have a chance of catching up to the original Spirit race, the Shepherd's God race, and the Chaos God race. It's only a matter of time before I become a top-notch bloodline race like them. This operation concerns the rise and fall of our race in the future. There can be no mistakes. Yes, sir. Tens of thousands of voices sounded from all over the Titan continent. The owners of these voices were all true God-tier Titan God spirits. In the territory of the original spirit race, the original Master God, Source, also studied about Venus. Venus, the Supreme, will actually took out this racial divine artifact. Looks like the war over there has intensified again. He muttered to himself before a look of determination flashed in his eyes. I have to get this Venus. That secret technique needs more original spirit race Master God tier to assist me. With this Venus, in less than 10,000 years, our race should be able to produce enough Master God tiers. Then they can assist me use the mystic technique to enter that mystic realm. Perhaps I can find the resources to advance to the Supreme God realm from that mystic realm. In the Chaos Sea's Golden Crow domain, Great One looked at Venus, the fire in his eyes as bright as the Supreme Sun Star. Venus. Who else can be the number 1 race in the myriad worlds if one owned this race's divine artifact? It's also very likely to be able to take down the Lord of all races. It will definitely become mine, notwithstanding though this is something that all species covet. The Great One Lord declared with ambition. Chapter 1281. Day 1 Merchandises. Divine Kingdom Soldier Type Class Change Certificate. Yidap Beisenvel. CM at this moment. A large number of high-level bloodline races like the Titan God race, and even top-notch bloodline races, like the original Spirit race, were looking at Venus with determination in their eyes. They were all determined to obtain Venus. Even the other middle-level races and weak races yearned to obtain it. This was because they saw the hope for their race to make it and become masters, or even take another step forward from this race's divine artifact. Just like the consensus of the myriad worlds, this Venus was a race divine artifact that could uplift the entire race. Everyone would be tempted. Even Jojo was no exception. Jojo thought for a while and looked at the goods below. Apart from Venus, there were also other goods sold on the first day. Day 1 merchandises, Star Annihilation Cannon, low-tier deity level elementary grade. Quantity: 1. A Star Annihilation Cannon with the power of a god spirit. It can be parked in space to guard a planet, or placed on a spaceship. It can be used as a conventional weapon in a spaceship. After fully accumulating energy, a full-power cannon can destroy a regular inhabited planet in one strike. It can also be used in battle with a low-tier deity. Selling price: 10,000 obscure lord shop points. Elementary Sun Energy Shield, low-tier deity level elementary grade. Quantity: 1. A planetary protection facility with defense at the level of a god spirit. It can absorb the light of the supreme star, Sun Star, to accumulate energy and set up a defense layer for the planet. It can defend against attacks at the level of a low-tier deity level. It's a basic planetary defense facility. Selling price: 10,000 obscure lord shop points. Bluebird low-tier deity level elementary grade. Quantity: 1. Basic god-tier spaceship. Its normal sailing speed is 1 light-year per hour. After entering the dark universe, it can reach 100 light-years per hour. It can preliminarily satisfy the actions of the lords of all races in the active universe. Selling price: 10,000 obscure lord shop points. Potential Advancement Potion, low-tier deity level elementary grade. Quantity: 10. God-tier potion that can increase a life form's potential to the low-tier deity level elementary grade. It has the right to become a god spirit. Selling price: 1,000 obscure lord shop points. Spacewalker Class Change Certificate, Kingdom Level Soldier Type. Quantity: 10,000 hunters walking in space can exert extraordinary combat power in space, and can use stellar energy and spatial power to fight. Selling price: 100 obscure lord shop points. Heavenly Knight Class Change Certificate, Empire Tier Soldier Type. Number: 100. Famous top soldier type profession in the universe. Cultivates the gravity technique and controls the power of gravity. Use the Star Core Spear as a weapon and contract a Star Spirit as a mount. Organizational Heavenly Knights can fight Divine Kingdom soldier types with the corresponding array formation. Selling price: 1,000 obscure lord shop points. Universe Legendary Class Change Certificate, Divine Kingdom soldier type. Quantity: 1. One of the strongest soldier type professions in the universe. Cultivate the main Bodis universe technique and open up the universe in your body. You don't need any weapons. You yourself are the strongest weapon. You have telekinesis that can overturn the universe. With a thought, the galaxy can reverse and time can reverse. Selling price: 10,000 obscure lord shop points. Note: after purchasing all of them, you can obtain a mysterious item. Mysterious goods are formed according to the situation of the Lord of all races. You can obtain goods that meet the needs of the Lord of all races. Jojo raised his eyebrows slightly after reading them. Of the 6 items, he didn't care much about the first 3. However, the last 3 items really surprised him. Especially the last one. The Universal Legendary Class Change Certificate. There's actually a Divine Kingdom soldier type for sale. Jojo was surprised. There was no need to say how powerful the Divine Kingdom soldier type was. It was an existence that could easily fight 10,000 people at the same level. Even after entering the God Spirit realm, Divine Kingdom soldiers could easily fight 100 Empire tier soldiers who were also God spirits. The weaker soldier types could even fight 1,000 people alone. It could be seen how powerful the soldier type was. He did not expect that it would be sold. According to the hint above, these are just the first day of merchandise. It'll be refreshed after today, so one have to be fast if one want to buy them. Moreover, there is still a mysterious item if one exchange for all of them. I wonder what it will be. But a mysterious product that can be specially annotated shouldn't be bad, right? Jojo pondered. However, he was also a little conflicted. He wanted to exchange for Venus, a universal race divine artifact, and buy all these goods. After a long time, he sighed. I thought I was already very rich, but now one realized that I'm still very poor. He shook his head and wondered how the other lords were doing. He suddenly had this thought. Then, he opened the channel of the Lord of all races. However, just as he opened it, he discovered that someone at him. At Blazing Sun Empire. Lord of the Blazing Sun, big shot. Why did another heaven-defying lord appear in your human race? What's with that mortal lord? Do you know him? How did he manage to be ranked first as soon as he entered the Lord of all races rankings, and obtained more than 20 billion hegemony points? Which Divine Kingdom Lord faction did he destroy? I remember the Spirit Venerable Big Shot of the 10,000 Spirit race said that they had the race behind them send experts to help them defeat an Empire Tier Lord faction. He was only rewarded 100 million hegemony points. This more than 20 billion must have defeated a Divine Kingdom Lord faction, right? It must be right? Is it possible that the mortal lord is the Lord of the Blazing Sun? But the Lord of the Blazing Sun is in disguise. Disguise? Are you saying that he can deceive the Supreme Will? That's really amazing. If that's the case, I'm willing to call the Lord of the Blazing Sun the strongest of us all. Please think before you speak. Disguising himself? Can one fool the Supreme Will no matter how much one disguises? This is clearly another invincible lord of the human race. What about the common people's regal? Why didn't I see his name on the rankings? I feel that common people's regal is holding it in. I think so too. The common people's regal will never give up on the second stage of the event. He's already first in the first stage. How can he not participate in the second stage of the event? He must be holding it in. One don't care about the common people's regal anymore. I'm only concerned about the second stage of the Lord of the Race's activity this time. I feel that I'm probably going to fight to the death. Did you see that, Venus? It's really the best. It's no exaggeration to say that whoever can obtain that race divine artifact will be able to bring their race forward by a large level. Those top races will definitely slaughter the weak lords of the myriad races, for this Venus, to obtain a large number of obscure lordship points. One feel that I'm finished. I have similar thoughts. The races behind the lords of all races can send some experts to participate in this lord event. This will only make the strong stronger and the weaker. Even though the Supreme Will has given us 1 trillion goals on the surface, I estimate that less than 1 trillion lords of all races might survive in the end. You guys are exaggerating. Listen to you guys. My body is trembling now. What should one do? Zhou looked at the contents of the chat between the lords of all races thoughtfully. The effect of this twin body was really not bad. These guys had already begun to imagine things themselves before he could say anything. Not bad, not bad. Chapter 1282. Base Camp Defense Battle and Base Camp Offensive Battle. Yudat Beisenvel. CM, they were right. The second stage of the Lord of the Race's activity, this time would probably beat the brains out of the lords, just for this Venus. However, I'm going to redeem it today, Zhou muttered to himself. He had more than 5 million obscure lordship points now. It shouldn't be a problem to spend another day earning 2 million points. At this moment, the ministers were almost done discussing. The scene gradually quietened down. When it was completely silent, Bai Yin was the first to stand up. Your Majesty, with our current strength, it's almost easy for us to sweep through all the lords and factions of the myriad races. Only the indigenous lord factions and cosmic organizations in the active universe need us to be more careful. However, with our strength, there's actually no need to worry too much. In addition, we now have the Mortal Empire as an alias. Therefore, I suggest that we directly conquer the Lord of all races in the active universe, and increase our ranking on the Lord of all races contest. Even if we attract a lot of attention, or even use hidden methods, we'll just deal with it when the time comes. One believe that no force can stop us, Bai Yin said loudly. Her tone was extremely confident. Wu Xin, who was fighting alongside her, could not help but smile in relief when he saw Bai Yun's confident, steady and bold appearance. This student of his was already much more outstanding than him. When the other generals heard this, some fell into deep thought, some nodded, and some remained silent. However, almost all the generals did not show any fear. Following that, the shepherd's god races Yuan Song also stood out and said, I also think Legion Commander by makes sense, even though this move is a little ostentatious and eye-catching. However, this is what we should do with our strength. Furthermore, what we're facing now is an event personally set up by the Supreme Will. If we keep being timid for the sake of caution, and cause us to lose what we should have been able to obtain with our strength, we'll regret it when the time comes. As soon as these words were spoken, many generals agreed. Then the Chaos Humans, Ing Ning, the human true god, Suan, the human true god, Luosheng, the divine lord of Behemoth, Collier, the Shadow Clan true god, Tarokal, and the Rakshasa true god, Shuechenale stood up and said that they wanted to attack with all their might. As a mortal empire, they wanted to welcome the second stage of the Lord of the Race. Seeing that everyone had the same opinion, Zhou smiled and nodded. Well, with his current strength and faction, there was indeed no need to be too cautious. This was also because he didn't want to waste the mythical tier-only Lord Talent twin body. Otherwise, he would have wanted to compete for first place on the hegemony rankings as a true lord. Then, Zhou did not waste any time. He immediately got the generals to prepare, and immediately returned to the Cerulean planet. Zhou had just returned to the Cerulean planet when a text notification appeared in front of him. The Lord of the Race Second Stage Activity Notification 1. At 8 in the morning sharp in Cerulean planet, you will welcome a base camp defense battle and a base camp offensive battle. You can arrange the time of these two battles at any time on that day. Please prepare for the battle in time. The Lord of the Race Second Stage Activity Notification 2. When you obtain a consecutive win in the base camp defense battle or the base camp offensive battle, you will be matched with stronger opponents the next day. The Lord of the Race Second Stage Activity Notification 3. When you don't complete the day's headquarters defense battle and the headquarters offensive battle, you will automatically be considered to have given up your status as a lord. Zhou raised his eyebrows. He was trying to force a match again. But then, his brows relaxed. He was no longer the Lord of the Blazing Sun from the Lord Arena. The current he wouldn't be afraid of any enemy. Well, start the base camp defense battle now. The current him wouldn't be afraid of any enemy. Just as he said that, a new text notification appeared in front of him. Match in progress. In less than a second, the words "match successful" appeared. Your Majesty, an unfamiliar planet suddenly appeared out of thin air 36,563 kilometers in front of our planet. Zero's voice appeared beside Zhou's ear. At the same time, a virtual screen appeared in front of him. It was a verdant planet. Green was the main color of this planet, and there was not even much blue that represented the sea. At this moment, the virtual screen was pulled to a plane on the surface of this planet. There was a stone city gathered on the surface of this plane. This stone city was primitive and desolate, and there were more than 1 million goblins gathered inside. In the center of the stone city, there was a yellow stone platform. On the yellow stone platform was a yellow stone throne. On the throne sat a strong and sharp-eyed goblin king in black armor, and holding a mace. He was looking up at the blue planet 1 million kilometers away. Zhou also looked at him. Then, a sinister smile appeared on both sides. Match successful. Your opponent is the green planet goblin race, Lord Giant Tooth. This lord has 525,000 hegemony points. This lord has obscure lord shop points, 11,300. The number of consecutive wins of this lord, 0. From now on, you will defend against the enemy's attack until the end of this day, or the other party is destroyed. You will obtain victory. Otherwise, you will fail. The base camp defense battle has officially begun. Zhou smiled faintly. This opponent was not bad. Judging from the other party's hegemony points and obscure lord shop points, the other party should have completed the first stage of the Lord of the Race's activity early, and immediately went out to fight. That was why he obtained so many points. If this continued, he might be able to enter the rankings in the end, and successfully participate in the third stage of the Lord of the Race's event. Unfortunately, he met him. Bai Yan, lead a team of soldiers to deal with the other party. Zhou ordered. who said that the defending side could not directly attack. Yes, Your Majesty, Bai Yin said respectfully. Now that she was already at true God tier intermediate grade, she naturally did not feel any pressure when facing a lord faction of the myriad races that was at most a low-tier deity level. Soon, he led a team of 100 people and rushed towards the other party's Green Plains planet. At the same time, the giant Tooth Lord also saw the match notification that appeared in front of him. Match successful. Your opponent is the mortal Lord of Earth. This lord has 20,615,652,000 hegemony points. This lord has obscure lord shop points. 1,589,700 obscure lord shop points. The number of consecutive wins of this lord, 0. From now on, you will attack the enemy's base camp as the offensive party until the end of today, and successfully occupy the enemy's base camp. Otherwise, you will be judged to have failed. If your offensive fails, you will automatically lose your status as the Lord of all races. The main camp's offensive battle has officially begun. Chapter 1283 Crushing. God-Slaying Musket. The giant Tooth Lord did not look at the information of the successful match immediately. Instead, he looked at the humans and Zhou on the cerulean planet from 1,000,000 kilometers away. It's actually the lord of the human race. A sinister smile appeared on the ugly face of the giant Tooth Lord. He knew humans too well. This was because his initial territory on the high continent was adjacent to some human lords. Later on, they were all wiped out by him with his troops. Moreover, the difficulty of eliminating it was almost 0. Those humans seemed to have never experienced a battle. They were extremely flustered when they encountered a battle, and only competed in running faster. Not many humans dared to stay behind and fight them head-on. Occasionally, a few humans would boldly want to fight them head-on, but because they lacked combat experience and no one helped them, they were easily destroyed by the goblin warriors under him. Goblins were weak. If you were strong, they were weak. If you were weak, they were stronger. In the face of an enemy stronger than the goblins would act more obedient and timid than slaves. However, when the goblins encountered the weak enemies in their eyes, their combat performance was comparable to unparalleled fierce generals. Therefore, when the humans showed weakness, the goblin warriors led by him easily eliminated those human lords and occupied their initial territory. When he saw the humans on the Azure planet again, the corners of his mouth were about to reach his ears. The first opponent was actually a human. It was really the blessing of the ancestor. As long as this human wasn't the two freaks, the Lord of the Blazing Sun and the Mortal Lord, Giant Tooth Lord was very confident that he could crush him. After all, he was a low-tier deity-level Goblin King. Even among the Lord of all races, this single-target combat strength was considered the top at this stage. Let me see what kind of background this human lord has. Giant Tooth Lord leisurely looked at the matching information in front of him. Then his face froze. This. He widened his eyes and stared at the name of the mortal lord, as well as the ridiculously high number of hegemony points and obscure lord shop points. There's no mistake. Currently, the only lord from the human race with this number of points would only be this mortal lord. My first opponent is actually such a freak. Giant Tooth Lord looked flustered, completely losing the calmness and conceit he had when he first saw Zhou. At this moment, he saw 101 streams of light fly over from the blue planet and quickly fly above his head. The female general looked immortal and heroic. She had the ethereal charm of the immortal Tao. I'm Legion Commander by Yunxian of the Mortal Empire. I'm here to destroy you. She shouted. I surrender. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Giant Tooth Lord broke out in cold sweat as he surrendered loudly. Our mortal empire doesn't accept just any opponent. Bai Yin sneered. There were actually many grudges between the goblins and humans in history. Coupled with the other party's personality of bullying the weak and fearing the strong, as well as the other party's weak strength, Bai Yin did not want to take him in at all. Go and destroy them, Bai Yin said calmly, and commanded the yellow talisman Dao soldiers and forbidden mage behind her. These 100 Empire tier soldier types all had legendary tier strength. When they heard Bai Yun's order, they immediately moved out. The yellow talisman Dao soldiers were in front, and the forbidden mage was behind. They turned into 100 streams of light of various colors, and rushed towards the million goblin warriors. How arrogant! Giant Tooth Lord could not help but feel furious when he saw this. Just 100 soldiers to attack his million-strong army? Didn't these soldiers of the mortal empire know how to write the word death? Even if their strength was legendary tier, they were not god spirits. Didn't they know that ants could bite an elephant to death? Kill them, the Giant Tooth Lord immediately ordered. Yes. The million-strong goblin army roared in unison. Swish, 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 swish. At least 100,000 goblin warriors immediately soared into the air and flew towards the 100 yellow talisman Dao soldiers and forbidden mage. Then an extremely contrasting scene appeared. The 50 yellow talisman Dao soldiers were like tigers entering a flock of sheep, killing fearlessly among the more than 100,000 goblin warriors. The forbidden mage behind them also began to chant an incantation and cast a forbidden spell. Legendary tier advanced grade forbidden spell, Fiery War. Legendary tier advanced grade forbidden spell, Ice Aeon. Legendary advanced grade forbidden spell, Super Violent Storm. Legendary tier advanced grade forbidden spell, Flame Explosion. Large scale or super powerful single target offensive forbidden spells were released from the staffs of the 50 forbidden mages and swept through the million-plus goblin army. It was almost just one round. More than 200,000 goblins were either dead or injured. As for the yellow talisman Dao soldiers that were charging in front of them and protecting them while killing, they were not injured at all under the precise control of the forbidden mage. If other mages saw this scene, they would definitely think that it was amazing. That was an incomparably explosive forbidden spell that could be controlled so perfectly after all. However, this was just an ordinary method for the forbidden mages under Zhou. Then, the forbidden mage fired another 2 rounds of forbidden spells at the same time, destroying most of the goblin army that the Giant Tooth Lord was proud of. Giant Tooth Lord was stunned when he saw this scene. Was this the strength of the Lord who had reached the top? Was it really reasonable to be so strong? He no longer had any thoughts of continuing the battle, and had only had one thought now. Stay alive even if he had to give up his status as a lord. Therefore, while he was fighting happily in front, he quietly walked to the back of the army, and turned into a stream of light as he fled into the distance. It's too terrifying. No wonder he could obtain so many hegemony points and obscure lordship points in 3 days. Just 100 people are already so strong. If their army were to attack, the Giant Tooth Lord could not help but shiver when he thought of this. He felt that even a Divine Kingdom Lord might not be able to defeat such an enemy. At this moment, he suddenly stopped. This was because a forbidden mage, wearing a platinum forbidden mage robe, was floating in the starry sky and looking at him quietly. It was as if he had been waiting for a long time. Giant Tooth Lord was also shocked when he saw the other party. However, when he sensed the other party's strength and aura, his expression could not help but turn ferocious. A mere legendary tier advanced grade mage dares to stop me? He really doesn't want to live anymore. The Giant Tooth Lord was furious and immediately opened his mouth to bite the other party. A huge mouth phantom appeared in the starry sky and ate the forbidden mage. The Giant Tooth Lord had used the law of devour to become a low-level deity. This move was his initial law skill, and also the only law skill he had grasped. He attacked with all his might even though he looked down on the other party. However, legendary tier advanced grade forbidden spell, God-slaying musket. A faint voice sounded. Then, a 10,000-meter-long fire divine spear appeared in the starry sky. The next second, it directly transformed into a flaming spear shadow that pierced through the law of devour. Then, it paused slightly and pierced through the Giant Tooth Lord again. The Giant Tooth Lord widened its eyes and gazed at the huge hole in his chest. He could not believe that he possessed died just like that. Then, the light in his eyes gradually disappeared, until they completely lost its light. Chapter 1284. 2 consecutive victory points. Yellow River died. Lines of text appeared in front of Zhou with the death of the giant Tooth Lord, and the death and surrender of most of the goblin warriors under him. Congratulations, you have defeated the Green Planet Goblin race, Giant Tooth Lord, and obtained the victory of this base camp defense battle. You have obtained all the hegemony points and obscure lord shop points that the other party has. You have obtained the reward for this base camp guard battle. 1,000 hegemony points, 100 obscure lord shop points. Your latest hegemony points are 20,620,912,000. Your latest obscure lord shop points are 1,600,000,1,100 points. You have completed today's base camp defense battle. You have received one consecutive win point. The accumulation of winning streak points will allow you to obtain more hegemony points and obscure lord shop points after the battle. However, it will also match you with stronger opponents, and even match you with the local lord faction in the universe. You still have a base camp offensive battle that has not been completed today. Please complete it in time. Is it done just like that? Zhou shook his head. As expected, it was only the first battle, so it was destined to not be difficult. I'm going to start today's offensive at the headquarters, Zhou said calmly. After quickly completing the 2 battles today, he got his clone to lead the troops to battle. The hegemony points and obscure lord shop points provided by the base camp defense battle and the base camp offensive battle were still too little for him at the moment. The Lord of all races had only just started the second stage of the event after all. The points in his hands were pitifully low. In the last few days, the lords who survived would more or less have more points in their hands. Match in progress. Match successful. Your opponent is the Fire Python Starfire Python race, 3-headed Fire Flood Dragon Lord. This lord has 381,000 hegemony points. This lord has obscure lord shop points, 9,900 points. The number of consecutive wins of this lord, 1. From now on, you will attack the enemy's base camp as the offensive party until the end of today, and successfully occupy the enemy's base camp. Otherwise, you will be judged to have failed. The main camp's offensive battle has officially begun. Zhou looked at this winning condition and pondered. If the offensive party wanted to win, the conditions had to be harsher. He had to take down the defense to win. Otherwise, he would lose. Unlike the defensive side, even if he couldn't take the initiative to attack the other party like him, as long as he kept defending the other party and lasted until the end of the day, it would be considered a victory. He shook his head and didn't think too much about it. The 3-headed Fire Flood Dragon Lord sounded impressive. However, in reality, be it in terms of military strength or strength, they were inferior to the Giant Tooth Lord just now. In less than a moment, Bai Yun led the soldiers back victorious again. At the same time, a victory notification appeared. Congratulations, you have defeated the Fire Python Starfire Python race, 3-headed Fire Flood Dragon Lord, and obtained the victory of this base camp's offensive battle. You have obtained all the hegemony points and obscure lord shop points that the other party has. You have obtained the reward for this base camp guard battle. 1,000 hegemony points, 100 obscure lord shop points. Your latest hegemony points are 20,624,720 points. Your latest obscure lord shop points are 1,611,500. You have completed today's base camp defense battle. You have received one consecutive win point. You have completed all the offensive and defensive battles today. You can now choose to go out and invade the racial territories of other lords to obtain more hegemony points and obscure lord shop points. Looks like I can't continue to match. The rest will have to go out and invade the territories of the other lords. Zhou nodded slightly. Then, he did not waste any time. He immediately got the 2 avatars, Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu, to lead the soldiers and god spirits on the Eternal Mothership. According to the label on the universe star map, he headed to the territories of the other people of foreign races in the active universe, and began to conquer them to obtain hegemony points and obscure lord shop points. And he had also returned to the High Continent and entered the Reincarnation Sacred Palace to continue comprehending the Lord's laws. Zhou Wen led the Empire's army on the Supreme Continent and continued to expand into the surrounding territory, from the surrounding territory of the Blazing Sun Empire. There would be no delays. Time passed quickly. At noon, Zhou Manage, who was dealing with government affairs in the Central Emperor Palace, suddenly received a message. The Yellow River Dockyard has been built. Zhou Manage looked at the virtual memorial in front of him in surprise. Very good. With the Yellow River Dockyard and recruiting some dead people to change their professions to Yellow Spring fishermen, one can catch the Yellow Spring fish in the Yellow Spring River. The Yellow River fish is a rare divine item that can increase the potential of the soul and even help awaken the power of will. Even though I've already awakened the power of my will, and even reached the limit of the will-like light realm, I'm only a step away from breaking through the bottleneck and entering the second realm of my will divine transformation realm. However, this Yellow River fish also has a weak effect of strengthening my willpower. Perhaps the key to breaking through the willpower bottleneck lies in this Yellow River fish. Zhou Manage smiled. He might have grasped more than one willpower inheritance. He even obtained some inheritances at the will divine transformation realm. But for some reason, he had been stuck at the will-like light realm for now, unable to make a breakthrough. He wanted to see if the Yellow River fish could help he break through. He would have fulfilled one of them, the many conditions to become a supreme god realm, if he successfully advanced to the will divine transformation realm. In addition, he hadn't forgotten that his master god tier elementary grade divine artifact, the 9 Nether Yellow River Spear, had even been borrowed by the Lord of the Yellow River. At that time, the other party said that a calamity had descended on the Yellow River. This should be true, but he did not know how the Yellow River tribulation the other party was talking about was going. At this moment, a young man's voice suddenly sounded. "Are you thinking about me, Regal?" Zhou looked up and saw a yellow-robed man with his back facing him. An illusory yellow river surrounded the other party, making him look even more mysterious, dignified, and terrifying. "Greetings, Your Excellency, Lord of the Yellow River," Zhou said politely. "You're welcome, Regal. I've heard a lot about you. With Regal's current strength, we can treat each other as peers." Lord of the Yellow River said inside. Who would have thought that it had only been a short period of time? But the weak Regal from back then was already on par with him. The Lord of the Yellow River. Then he'll accept it respectfully. Zhou Manage smiled faintly and said, "How's the 9 Nether Yellow River Spear?" Lord of the Yellow River did not say anything, but a terrifying holy spear that emitted the aura of the Netherworld appeared in front of him. It was the Master God tier divine artifact, the 9 Nether Yellow River Spear. Zhou Manage's expression changed slightly. This was because he could sense that the aura of this 9 Nether Yellow River Spear was actually much stronger than before. It had reached the level of a top-notch Master God tier divine artifact that was a Master God tier advanced grade. Moreover, it was surrounded by an unknown aura that even Zhou Manage could not understand. He was secretly alarmed. He was a Lord God spirit who had grasped King, Myriad Methods Star Palm, and many bloodline inheritances. There were very few things in this world that he did not know about, but now there was actually something on this spear that he could not see through. How could he not be shocked? It is naturally a good spear, as expected of a treasure personally nurtured by our Yellow Springs. Lord of the Yellow River caressed the spear and said with a complicated tone, "Unfortunately, it can't protect our Yellow Springs." "What do you mean?" Zhou Manage frowned. "Common people's Regal." For the first time, Lord of the Yellow River turned around, revealing the dilapidated void inside. His voice changed from its previous gentleness as he said sternly, "The Yellow Spring has already fallen. The calamity of the great cosmos will begin from now on. You bear the name of the common people's Regal. You must protect our myriad worlds. Remember not to let outsiders occupy our hometown." With that under Zhou Manage's shocked gaze, his divine body quietly shattered and dissipated into the world. As for the Master God tier advanced grade Master God tier divine artifact, the 9 Nether Yellow River Spear, in his hand, had also turned into specks of yellow light and disappeared. Chapter 1285. Alternate Void Race. Unknown yet powerful enemy. Zhou Manage stared blankly at the empty space in front of him. What is going on? The Lord of the Yellow River had actually died. Even that Master God Tier Advanced Grade Master God Divine Artifact, the 9 Nether Yellow River Spear, had been destroyed. His expression turned extremely solemn. Then, he couldn't care less about losing a Master God Tier Advanced Grade Divine Artifact. He immediately took out Bodhi Supreme and asked, Bodhi Supreme, what happened in the Yellow River? In answer to a formal question, Bodhi Supreme said leisurely, but its voice was no longer as lazy as before. Sure. This time, Zhou Manage did not hesitate. He felt that something big had happened and he had to figure this out. Lord Yellow River has been killed by a group of outsiders. Bodhi Supreme said. Outsiders? Zhou Manage frowned. Did the Scarlet Will occupy the Yellow River? The Scarlet Will is actually not considered an outsider to the Supreme Will. The war between them is at most a family fight for the inheritance, while those guys are real outsiders. The Alternate Void Clan? Zhou Manage thought for a moment and asked. The Alternate Void Race was similar to the Void Creatures, but they were the upper race of the Void Creatures. Void Creatures lived in the depths of space and fed on void energy. At the same time, they would devour the crystal walls of worlds and invade the myriad worlds in a vain attempt to nourish void energy through the method of destroying worlds and obtain greater growth. However, this was the difference between the alternate void race and the void race. The void race was born in the 2 universes. At the same time, they only caused trouble in the Supreme Great Cosmos and the Crimson Great Cosmos. However, in the eyes of the Supreme Will and the Crimson Overlord, this kind of rebellion was a part of the cosmic cycle. Existences like them would not treat void creatures as enemies at all. Instead, they would treat them as their children. Therefore, even in the Lord of all races, the void race was allowed to participate. Only the creatures born in the world would think that this creature that devoured and destroyed the world was their enemy. However, the Isu clan was different. They were born in the void outside the Supreme Great Cosmos and the Crimson Great Cosmos, and called themselves ultimate void creatures. They devoured the universe crystal walls of the 2 universes for a living. They dreamed of breaking through the universe crystal walls of the 2 universes and invading and destroying them. Therefore, even the Supreme Will and the Crimson Overlord regarded this creature as an enemy. They even established a special ultimate void battlefield outside the Great Cosmos. Every 1,000 years, a group of experts from the 2 universes would rush to the ultimate void battlefield to resist the invading alternate void race. Almost none of the low-level life forms in the myriad worlds knew about this. However, almost all the gods knew about them in the circle of god spirits. Zhou Manage naturally knew. However, Bodhi Supreme said regretfully to Zhou Manage's answer. If only those little guys were here. Unfortunately, no. What enemy is that? Zhou Manage was shocked. That's an enemy that's fundamentally opposed to our survival. We're almost natural enemies with each other. You don't have to know much now, and I can't tell you much. You'll naturally know everything when you're strong enough in the future. After saying that, Bodhi Supreme did not say anything else. No matter how Zhou Manage called out to it, Bodhi Supreme did not speak. Zhou Manage frowned. However, after a while, his brows relaxed. Never mind. Since Bodhi Supreme said so, he would know in the future. Listen to others' one advice and eat your fill. The secret to a long life is to stay out of other people's business. Since this matter could not affect him for the time being, he should not worry so much. It would save him the trouble of not being able to do his job. Then he thought of something. Wouldn't my Yellow River dockyard have been built for nothing since the Yellow River has already fallen? Zhou Manage asked. A chance to answer ordinary questions. The Bodhi Supreme said lazily. I did. Zhou Manage was helpless. Hehe, that might not be the case. Bodhi Supreme said leisurely. When I say that the Yellow River has fallen, one mean that the Yellow River has been occupied. Moreover, the path to the netherworld from the Yellow River has been closed. It's not that the Yellow River has disappeared. The Yellow River is a place and a conceptual existence. It exists in the myriad worlds. It can be said to be spread throughout the myriad worlds. As long as the living beings in the world still remember the Yellow River, the Yellow River will not really disappear. Therefore, even that enemy can't completely destroy the Yellow River. However, the control of the Yellow River has indeed fallen into the other party's hands. Even if the other party can't occupy it completely for the time being, existence outside the Yellow River can no longer interfere in the matters there. It's only a matter of time before they completely fall. However, if you want to obtain some benefits from the Yellow River before it completely falls, it's not impossible. Because you're an exception, your Yellow River dockyard has just been built on the Yellow Spring. In addition, you have the Yellow River token. In the myriad worlds, only you have the ability to enter the Yellow River again and do something before the Yellow River completely falls. Even though the path from the Yellow River to the Netherworld has been closed, it's no longer meaningful to create the Yellow River underworld boat and recruit the fairy spirit of the Yellow River to lead the souls of other life forms to the Netherworld. However, you can still recruit some Yellow Spring fishermen. It won't be a problem to catch some Yellow River fish near your Yellow River dockyard. Zhou managed nodded. In that case, it was fine. In fact, he wasn't too interested in recruiting the Yellow River fairy spirit. He only cared about the harvest of the Yellow River fish. Now that the Yellow River fish was temporarily fine, he didn't care about anything else. He did not have the ability to care after all. After figuring it out, he sighed and said, "Now that the Yellow River has fallen, the path of the undead to the Netherworld has been closed. In the future, the undead in the myriad worlds will probably not be able to go to the Netherworld through the Yellow River. Bodhi Supreme, what do you think this world will become in the future?" "It's simple," Bodhi Supreme said lazily. "First, there are more and more undead in the myriad worlds. Then the law of life and death is out of order. More and more living and dead life forms will appear in the myriad worlds. In the end, perhaps our myriad worlds will become the myriad worlds ruled by the living and dead race. Of course, it's also possible that the rules of life and death will be out of order, causing the yin and yang of the myriad worlds to be out of order. Then, the foundation of the heavens will be chaotic. At that time, the Supreme will can only refine its world again and let everything return to the chaos to start all over again." Zhou Manage was silent. No matter which possibility it wasn't a future he wanted to see. However, what could he do? Even the entire Yellow River had fallen. It had to be known that there was a super existence like the will of the Yellow River in the Yellow River. If such an existence could not resolve the crisis of the Yellow River, what could he, a little Kurami who was not even a supreme god realm, do? He shook his head. Never mind. If the sky collapsed, the tall guy would hold it up. It was better for him to obediently complete the activity issued by the supreme will. Then, he didn't think too much about it. He opened the army interface and contacted the patriarch of the Yin Ghost races, Yen Luo, who was currently working in the 10,000 Races army. Chapter 1286, Yellow River Fish. Comprehending your own willpower. Back then, the patriarch of the Yin Ghost clan Yen Jun had already died under his Blazing Sun army, and this true god tier of the Yin Ghost clan called Yen Luo was Yen Jun's half-brother. However, the relationship between the two of them became not very good because of the competition for the position of patriarch, especially after Yen Jun became the patriarch of the Yin Ghost race. The relationship between the two of them became even worse, and it even felt like they were mortal enemies. Later on, Yen Jun died, and this fellow was instigated by Zhou Zhou with the 10,000 Spirit Saints' insight defection. Therefore, Zhou Zhou simply ordered he to be the current patriarch of the Yin Ghost clan. At the same time, he was also the region lord of the Blazing Sun Empire's Yin Ghost region. As the domain lord of the Yin Ghost region, he was currently guarding the Yin Ghost region and did not go to the Cerulean planet to help. "Your Majesty, what do you need me to do?" Yen Luo said respectfully on the virtual projection phone. Zhou Manage told the other party about the Yellow River dockyard. Then he said, "The Yellow River dockyard has already been built. This emperor plans to send your Yin Ghost clan to the Yellow River dockyard and change your profession to a yellow spring fisherman to continuously fish for this emperor. A great crisis in the Yellow River will approach at any time. You have to catch as many Yellow River fish as possible before the great crisis descends. Zhou said seriously. The Yellow River fish concerned whether a new Lord-level Divine Realm expert could be born among his subordinates and whether he could advance to the Will Divine Transformation Realm. Therefore, Yin Luo's responsibility was very important. Yes, Your Majesty, Yin Luo said respectfully. There was no fear on his face. In fact, he was a little excited. Looking at His Majesty's serious attitude, this was probably a rare opportunity to make a contribution. One must do this well for His Majesty. Yin Luo, who was already dead loyal to Zhou, was determined not to seek rewards, only the favor of His Majesty. Zhou nodded, then thought for a moment and said, "This emperor will go to the Yellow River with you to take a look." He still wanted to go to the Yellow River, to see the true situation of the Yellow River. Otherwise, he would never be at ease. With that, he disappeared from the spot with Yin Luo. At the Yellow River, the sky was dusky. A vast yellow river descended from the sky and surged into the bottomless abyss. Yes, ordinary rivers flowed from high to low places, but the Yellow River was a magnificent divine river that flowed from low to high places. It was like a waterfall, but it was more like a river that fell to the sky. This was where the Yellow River of the Azure Heaven came from. Above the Yellow River, an ancient, dignified, majestic, mysterious, and terrifying dock stood at the side of the Yellow River. Clusters of beautiful yellow spider lilies that were as red as blood surrounded the dock in the middle, making the Yellow River dockyard look less terrifying and more gentle. At this moment, Zhou and Yin Luo appeared on the dock. Is this the Yellow River? Yin Jun looked at the Yellow River in shock. Even though he was a true god tier, he had never stepped into this land. This was also the first time he had seen it today. Then, he took a deep breath and revealed a look of joy and obsession. The Yellow River Qi here is so suitable for our Yin ghost race to cultivate. If I cultivate here since I was young, I'm confident that I can advance to the true god tier realm in 5,000 years. If my clansmen cultivate here, their cultivation speed can at least double. He muttered to himself. His expression was filled with surprise. This place really suited his intentions. At this moment, he was even more grateful that His Majesty had arranged such an errand for him. This job was undoubtedly a fortune for him and the Yin Ghost clan. Zhou ignored Yin Luo's reaction. He only looked at the vast and magnificent Yellow River. After a long time, he frowned slightly. Normally, the aura of the Yellow River should be dead silent. However, the aura of Yellow River is a little more manic and uneasy now. Looks like Yellow Rivers should have felt the same when it died. Zhou took a deep breath. If it really followed the future development mentioned by the Bodhi Supreme, even if the Yellow River did not disappear, its strength would be weakened to a relatively low level, and it might even fall to an extremely ordinary mystic realm. He shook his head. Then with a thought, he took out the Yellow River token. Even though the will of the Yellow Spring had already fallen, this Yellow River token was still somewhat useful before it completely fell. Like now, for example, Zhou injected some chaotic sacred power into the Yellow River token in his hand. The Yellow River token emitted a faint yellow light that was like a water light. This yellow light covered a large area of the Yellow Springs basin in front of him. A moment later, a Yellow River fish suddenly flew out of the Yellow River and landed in Zhou hand. Zhou looked over. The treasure information appeared. Treasure name, Yellow River token, treasure grade, special tier. Treasure effect. After eating it, it can increase the soul potential of a life form. After increasing it to the limit, the consumer will awaken a willpower that is suitable for them from the depths of the soul and automatically enter the will-like light realm. Treasure description. A precious fish species that can only be produced in the depths of the Yellow River. It can help life forms awaken the mysterious and supreme power of will. After he finished reading, a smile appeared on his face. It was indeed what he needed. Then, he looked at the Yellow River token. This thing was also extremely useful. It actually had the effect of commanding the Yellow River fish to gather. If not for the fact that it took too long to get one of them, he would have relied on this to fish for Yellow River fish every day. Then, he didn't hesitate. He opened his mouth and swallowed the Yellow River fish into his stomach. Then, he smacked his lips. TSK. He ate too quickly and did not notice anything. Then, he casually sat down cross-legged and began to digest the power of the Yellow River fish in his body. Yen Luo was not idle either. After he roughly took a look at the scenery of the Yellow River dockyard, he did not forget about the serious matter. He immediately entered the Yellow River dockyard and familiarized himself with the various functions of the Yellow River dockyard to prepare for future work. A moment later, Zhou Manage finished digesting the power of the Yellow River fish. He opened his eyes, which were filled with realization. I see. I was wondering why I couldn't break through to the will divine transformation realm. So the willpower I control comes from the willpower of other Master God tier existences. If you want to break through to the will divine transformation realm, you have to use your own willpower to break through. I have yet to comprehend the power of my will. When I understand the power of my will, coupled with my previous accumulation, I can immediately break through and become a will divine transformation realm expert. Zhou Manage muttered to himself. The joy on his face grew stronger. He finally knew the reason why he could not break through. Moreover, he knew how to comprehend his own willpower. That was to continuously swallow the Yellow River fish. The Yellow River fish was the best treasure to assist life forms in comprehending their own willpower. As long as he continued to swallow the Yellow River fish and refine the power of the Yellow River fish, he would be able to comprehend the power of his will sooner or later and advance to the will divine transformation realm. I need more Yellow River fishes. At the thought of this, Zhou Manage immediately looked at the Yellow River zone in front of him with burning eyes. Chapter 1287. Ancestor Statue of the Human Race on the Cerulean Planet, by Qi. Upgrade Territory. 1. Zhou Manage controlled the Yellow River token and spent more than an hour catching more than 10 yellow spring fish in a row before refining them into his body. And yet, he felt that he had only improved a little. There was still a long way to go before he could awaken his willpower. Unless he had stayed here to fish, it was impossible for him to advance to the will divine transformation realm in a short period of time. However, he naturally could not stay here forever. Yen Luo. He stopped fishing and called Yen Luo over. Your Majesty, Yen Luo said respectfully, I'll leave everything here to you. Remember, your first mission is to capture the Yellow River fish in the Yellow River with all your might. You can ignore everything else. This is the Yellow River token. This emperor will lend it to you temporarily. With this Yellow River token, your fishing efficiency should increase greatly. Zhou Manage threw the Yellow River token to Yen Luo, who immediately took it. I understand. I will definitely mobilize all the strength of our Yin Ghost clan and do my best to catch the Yellow River fish for your Majesty. Yen Luo said reverently and firmly. Do well, and there will be no lack of rewards for your race. Zhou Manage nodded. Thank you, your Majesty. Yen Luo became happy. His Majesty's generosity was known throughout the entire High Continent, so he wondered what kind of reward His Majesty would give to their race if they fulfilled their wishes. Yen Luo was filled with anticipation. Zhou Manage nodded. Then, he gave Yen Luo some instructions before teleporting away. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, it was already night. The blazing sun imperial capital, in the reincarnation sacred palace. Zhou slowly opened his eyes. I'm one step closer to the high-tier deity level advance grade. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. He was not far from becoming a true god tier. When he became a true god, he would be able to control the power of the master god tier level even without relying on the moon demon. At that time, he could use some stronger main divine artifacts to obtain even stronger strength. Then, with the supreme sacred body, he was even confident in facing existences like the 10 master god tiers without being at a disadvantage. He didn't think too much about it as he opened his personal terminal and realized that he had already received 3 reports. Zhou opened them one by one. The first was a war report from the Cerulean planet. The second was a war summary from Zhou Wen's territory expansion war. And the last was a war summary. The third general war is a summary of the first two. Hence, Zhou looked at the last one. In the entire day, the high continent in Cerulean planet had eliminated a total of more than 52 trillion enemies, 63,000 god spirits, and more than 200 true gods. Among them, the Cerulean planet had eliminated a total of more than 32 trillion enemies, more than 43,200 god spirits, and more than 120 true gods. As for the expansion of the Blazing Sun Empire's territory, he had killed more than 20 trillion enemies, more than 19,000 god spirits, and more than 80 true gods. After killing so many enemies, he obtained trillions of mist cores, origin crystals, skill books, equipment, basic materials, basic gem resources, lightning, life, and death elemental gems. 3,818,012,150 green bronze tier, Lord Talent crystal fragments. 215 legendary tier, and below Scarlet Lord Talent spheres, as well as a large number of Lord Talent crystal fragments of other levels. Time elemental gem resources were more than 3,312,000,000 units. Space elemental gems were more than 3,012,000,000 units. More than 31,220,000,000 units of divine crystals, from low tier to high tier deity level. 81,800 true god tier divine crystals. More than 1,577,000,000 low tier to high tier deity level divine artifacts. 11,500 true god tier divine artifacts. 12 master god tier divine artifacts. There were a total of more than 180 million divine spark fragments, god tier medicinal herbs, god tier ingredients, god tier ores, god tier blueprints, and other treasures. 153,260 master god tier herbs, god tier ingredients, god tier ores, god tier blueprints, and other treasures. Zhou's gaze immediately landed on the 31,827 million spacetime elemental gems. I can upgrade my territory now. His eyes lit up. His two-front battle was not in vain. He had gained a lot. Then, he didn't hesitate. He immediately flew out of the shrine and arrived above the capital of the Blazing Sun. He looked down at his capital and silently chanted upgrade in his mind. The next second, with 40 trillion units of basic materials, 1,000 high-tier deity-level elementary grade divine crystals, 10 trillion origin crystals, 20 billion units of spacetime elemental gems, and 10 high-tier deity-level elementary grade territory tokens disappeared. A text notification appeared. Congratulations! Your mid-tier deity-level advanced grade shrine, Lord's Law, has successfully advanced to the high-tier deity-level elementary grade shrine, Lord's Law. Your territory has successfully been upgraded to a high-tier deity-level elementary grade territory. Your mid-tier deity-level advanced grade divine origin augmentation formation has been upgraded to the high-tier deity-level elementary grade divine origin augmentation formation. Territory stone steel durability increased to 100 trillion/100 trillion. Your territory has expanded to 10 billion kilometers x 10 billion kilometers x 1 million km. You have expelled all the fog monsters in the territory of the new territory. The scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward. Mythical tier building blueprint treasure chest. High tier deity level elementary grade. Lord Talent notification. Your Scarlet Brood Mother can be upgraded. Lord Talent notification. Your mysterious caravan has been upgraded. Lord Talent notification. The strength of the clergy of your life arc has increased. The next second, an even more dignified and loud voice sounded. The Cerulean Planet World Channel Lord announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun, becoming the first Lord to upgrade his territory to high-tier deity level elementary grade. Reward: Supreme Treasure Chest +1, Mythical Reputation Rating +3, Reputation Rating +1000, Unique Title of the Race. Glory of the Pioneer X has advanced to Glory of the Pioneer She. Chapter 1288. Ancestor Statue of the Human Race on the Cerulean Planet, by Qi. Upgrade Territory. 2. Cerulean Planet's entire channel's Lord Announcement. Congratulations to the Blazing Sun Empire. Intermediate grade. Lord of the Blazing Sun. Cerulean Planet's entire channel's Lord Announcement. Congratulations to the Blazing Sun Empire. Intermediate grade. Lord of the Blazing Sun. When Zhou saw the last announcement on the entire channel, a smile appeared on his face. He got the glory of the Pioneer title again. Not bad. As long as he didn't break the streaks, he immediately checked the content of the title. Title: The Glory of the Pioneer 11. Title Quality: Unique Title of the Race. Title Effect 1. You are famous among the lords of the Cerulean Planet. More people admire your reputation and want to join your territory. The number of subjects that can be summoned through the daily gate of summoning, plus 1,100%. Among the subjects summoned, there are 12 profession talents of the same level as the territory. Title Effect 2, same as before. Title Effect 3. When you become the first Cerulean Planet Lord to have a true God tier elementary grade territory, this title will be upgraded to Glory of the Pioneer 12 and unlock more title effects. Zhou nodded after reading it. However, the number of subjects he summoned increased by n times. In addition, among the subjects summoned, there would be 12 professional talents of the same level as the territory. In other words, he could summon 12 high-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirits from the next morning onwards. Even though this was nothing to the current Zhou, who wouldn't like the 12 god spirits that were given for free. Then, he opened the supreme treasure chest. There was a statue lying quietly in the luxurious and noble supreme treasure chest. This statue was dressed in white and had a white sword hanging at its waist. Its expression was gentle, but the depths of its eyes were very cold and harsh. It was the ancestor statue of the human race on the Cerulean Planet. It's actually not a racial divine artifact. Zhou raised his eyebrows. In the past, the Supreme Treasure Chest only rewarded race divine artifacts. However, he didn't care about it after that. This was because he knew that the effects of some top-notch human ancestor statues on Cerulean Planet were not inferior to racial divine artifacts. Moreover, the ancestor statue of the human race on Cerulean Planet in front of him was shockingly the top-notch one. He looked over and a text notification appeared. Treasure Name: Ancestor Statue of the Human Race on Cerulean Planet, by Qi. Treasure Grade: Legendary Tier. Treasure Effect: Place it in the shrine of the Imperial Ancestral Temple, and you can activate the enhancement effect of the ancestor statue on the territory, subject, or lord. Treasure Introduction, by Qi, a famous general in China's Warring States period, an outstanding military strategist, a representative of the army scholar. Tisk. It's the Killing God by Qi. I wonder what his ancestral effects are like? Zhou muttered to himself. Then, he didn't think too much about it, and teleported directly into the Imperial Ancestral Temple. Imperial Ancestral Temple. Zhou looked at the scene in front of him. 12 red shrines more than 20 meters tall were neatly placed on the altar. 5 of the shrines worshipped the ancestral statues of the Yellow Emperor, Sun Simiao, Gong Shibun, Liu Bei, and Zhang Heng. The other 7 shrines consecrated 7 brand new ancestor statues. There were people from Wuxia and other countries on the Cerulean Planet. It was the ancestor statue of the human race on the Cerulean Planet, not the ancestor statue of the human race in China. Therefore, it was quite normal for the ancestors of the Cerulean Planet to have other countries. These 7 statues were all dropped by Zhou through the war. He chose the highest grade and placed it in, providing protection for the territory. At that moment, he looked at the foreign ancestor statue among the 7 statues and pondered for a moment. In the end, he still bowed politely to express his respect for these human ancestors. Then, he chose to take down the ancestral statue of the ancient Roman general, Gnaeus Pompey. To be honest, Gnaeus Pompey was a famous general in ancient military history. But I will still choose Bai Qi. He had no choice, it was completely guided by his bloodline. Then, at the moment Bai Qi's statue was placed in the shrine, The entire hall shook. Then a cold male voice sounded. I'd rather die under heavy punishment for doing what I think is right than to turn around like a coward. Zhou was stunned when he heard this. Then he shook his head slightly. These words came from Zhangguozi Zongshans, Prince Zhao, how to appease the people and use troops wisely. It means, I'd rather die under heavy punishment than be a useless general. Bai Qi used this sentence to reject the Qin king's order to lead troops into battle. Unfortunately, he later died because of this sentence. He didn't think too much about it, and looked at the following text notification. You have placed a legendary tier ancestor statue of the human race on the Cerulean planet, in the shrine of the Imperial Ancestral Temple. Bai Qi has activated the exclusive Ancestral Enhancement effect. Killing God. Current offering of Ancestor statue has been updated. The current Ancestral Enhancement effect has been updated. Zhou curiously clicked on the current Ancestral Enhancement effect. Ancestral Enhancement. Killing God. Grade. Legendary tier. Enhancement effect 1. When the soldiers in the territory go out to fight, every time they kill an enemy of the same level, they can gather a trace of the Killing God aura on their bodies. The Killing God aura can deter, and even kill the enemy. The more the Killing God aura, the more obvious the effect of deterring the enemy, and the stronger the lethality to the enemy. When 9 million strands of Killing God Chi were gathered, they could condense the Killing God Dharma Laksana, and let it fight with the soldiers on the battlefield. The more Killing God Chi gathered, the stronger the combat strength of the Killing God Dharma Laksana. Enhancement effect 2. When the soldiers in the territory go out to fight, when they encounter a fatal disaster, they will enter an undead state. They will maintain normal movements for 10 minutes. Most of the corpses will lose their effect. The soldiers will only enter true death after 10 minutes. Enhancement effect 3. The soldiers under your command have the title of God of Slaughter. This makes them famous, and can deter weak enemies. When fighting the enemy, there is a small chance that the other party will collapse without attacking. After reading it, Zhou raised his eyebrows. The enhancement effect of Bai Qi's ancestors was really not bad. As for killing 9 million enemies, how was this possible? It was naturally difficult to achieve on the Cerulean planet and Earth. However, in a world like the Supreme Continent where all races competed for supremacy, the number of enemies Zhou and the others destroyed in a day was at least 1 trillion. Killing 9 million enemies of the people of foreign races, and gathering 9 million strands of Killing God's Chi to form the Killing God Dharma Laksana, was the simplest thing for the soldiers under him. Thank you, Ancestor Bai Qi. Then, he did not stay any longer. After respectfully offering 3 incense sticks to Bai Qi's ancestor, he returned to the imperial palace. As for the reward of 3 mythical reputation rating and 1,000 reputation rating, Zhou directly ignored them. In the central imperial palace, Zhou opened the requirements to upgrade the high-tier deity level elementary grade territory to the high-tier deity level intermediate grade territory. Construction upgrade. 10 million trillion units of wood, 10 million trillion units of fine sand, 10 million trillion units of metal, 10 million divine crystals, 10 trillion origin crystals, 10 billion units of time elemental gems, 10 billion units of spatial elemental gems, 10 high-tier deity territory, 10 high-tier deity god spirits, 100,000 racial heroes, 10 high-tier deity territory tokens. It'll meet all the other conditions. It's still the time-space elemental gem. Zhou's gaze landed on the requirement for the elemental gem. A total of 40 billion spacetime elemental gems. It was twice as much as the previous upgrade requirements. Fortunately, he had begun to attack the Divine Kingdom Lord faction, and the efficiency of collecting spacetime elemental gems had greatly increased. Otherwise, he really wouldn't know how to collect such a large number of spacetime elemental gems. Then, he looked at the number of spacetime elemental gems he had left. After the upgrade just now, he still had more than 57 billion units of spacetime elemental gems in his hands. I'm still short of more than 20 billion spacetime elemental gems to upgrade my territory again. Zhou thought. Then, a smile appeared on his face. According to his gains today, as long as nothing unexpected happened tomorrow night, he would be able to collect enough space-time elemental gem resources tomorrow night to upgrade the territory again. Then, he took a deep breath and muttered to himself, "It's time to upgrade my empire." Chapter 1289, Upgrading the Summoning Gate. Upgrading the original Dragon Abyss. Advancing to an advanced empire. Before Zhou started the upgrade to a high-level empire, he first came to the Gate of Summoning and spent 200,000 trillion, which was 20 capital units of basic materials, and 10,000 high-tier deity-level divine crystals, to upgrade the Gate of Summoning to high-tier deity-level elementary grade. Congratulations! Your Gate of Summoning has successfully been upgraded to a high-tier deity-level elementary grade building. You can summon plus 500,000 subjects every day. You will summon 30,000 professionals every day. Prompt. Under the influence of the unique title of the race, Glory of the Pioneer 11, you can summon 32,620,500 subjects every day. 30,011 professionals will definitely appear among the subjects you summon every day. Zhou nodded after reading it. The basic number of subjects summoned by the mid-tier deity-level advanced grade summoning gate was 2,965,500. After being buffed by the Glory of the Pioneer 11, it directly increased by 11 times, becoming 32,625,000 people. I'm one step closer to summoning true God-tier subjects every day. Zhou smiled faintly. Then, he looked at the upgrade requirements of the Gate of Summoning. Construction upgrade. Wood 20 capital units, fine sand 20 capital units, metal 20 capital units, stone 20 capital units, 10,000 high-tier deity-grade intermediate divine crystals. Territory level upgraded to high-tier deity-level intermediate grade. Note: 1 capital unit equals 10,000 trillion. Zhou retracted his gaze. Then he spent 2 capital units of basic materials, 5 billion mid-tier deity-level advanced grade crystals, and 5 billion basic elemental gems to upgrade the original Dragon Abyss in the Gate of Summoning to the high-tier deity-level elementary grade. Then, he looked over. Building name: Original Dragon Abyss, construction level, high-tier deity-level elementary grade. Construction effect: you can summon 6 billion white silver tier advanced grade pure-blooded dragons, 600 million yellow gold tier advanced grade pure-blooded dragons, 60 million white platinum tier intermediate grade pure-blooded dragons every day from the original Dragon Abyss. 6 true god tier elementary grade dragon gods will become subjects under the Lord and have a 12% chance of summoning legendary dragons. Construction upgrade: wood 1 capital unit, fine sand 1 capital unit, metal 1 capital unit, stone 1 capital unit, high-tier deity-level elementary grade divine crystals 5 billion, basic elemental gemstone 10 billion. After reading it, Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Tomorrow, he would be able to summon 6,666,666,666 pure-blooded dragons. This was quite an explosive number among the dragon race. Soon, I'm afraid I'll have to summon all the dragons in the myriad worlds. Zhou smiled faintly. Then, he took a look at the upgrade requirements of the original Dragon Abyss and could not help but gasp. Good Lord! 5 billion high-tier deity-level elementary grade divine crystals. 10 billion basic elemental gems. If not for the fact that he had the King of Loots and the effect of various titles stacking, allowing him to have 5 times the harvest, he might not have been able to upgrade this original Dragon Abyss. I'm probably the only one who can level up the original Dragon Abyss amongst all the lords, right? Zhou muttered in his heart. Then, he didn't think too much about it. He came to the golden imperial tablet in the shrine and took a deep breath. Then, he silently chanted the advancement in his heart. The next second, prompt: you have met all the requirements to advance to an advanced grade empire. Do you want to advance to an advanced grade empire? Upgrade. Zhou immediately said. Prompt: you have one chance to change the location of the imperial capital. Do you want to change/retain it? Retain. Zhou answered without hesitation. After absorbing the true God-tier regional territories of a few Divine Kingdom Lord factions, the current imperial capital had already advanced to true God-tier advanced grade regional territories, not to mention the special status of the capital in the hearts of all the citizens of the Blazing Sun Empire. It was impossible for him to abandon this treasure land for nothing and choose another place to become his capital. Prompt. Your choice has been confirmed. Prompt. Your lord's territory, intermediate grade empire. Blazing Sun Empire is advancing. Prompt. Level up successful. Congratulations, your intermediate grade lord's territory, Blazing Sun Empire, has officially advanced to an advanced grade lord's territory, Blazing Sun Empire. Prompt. You can display your empire territory level on any channel. Zhou heaved a sigh of relief. He had finally officially advanced to an advanced grade empire. He was only a step away from becoming a Divine Kingdom Lord. At this moment, the announcement of the new Lord of all races appeared on the entire channel. Lord of all races Lord announcement. Kudos to the human race, the Lord of the Blazing Sun, for successfully establishing the first advanced grade empire. Rewards. Lord of all races mythical tier treasure chest +1. Intermediate kingdom treasure chest +1. Reputation rating +100. Mythical reputation rating +10. Lord of all races announcement. Congratulations to the human race, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Lord of all races announcement. Congratulations to the human race, Lord of the Blazing Sun. When Zhou saw this, the smile on his face widened, and then him opened the various channels he was in with a smile. Unsurprisingly, they were all discussing the matter of his being promoted to an advanced grade empire. In particular, the reaction on the Lord's channel was extremely intense. He advanced to an advanced grade empire tier Lord faction just like that? I'm only a fucking beginner kingdom. As far as I know, among the lords of all races, even the true Lord, the Great One Lord, and the heaven-chasing Lord haven't become a beginner empire Lord faction, let alone an advanced grade empire faction. The difference is too great. My heart aches for them, competing in the same era as the perverted Lord of the Blazing Sun. Logically speaking, the true Lord, the heaven-chasing Lord, and the Great One Lord were all very strong. One of them alone was enough to compete for the position of the Lord of all races. However, the Lord of the Blazing Sun was too abnormal. A human lord beat the three of them until they didn't even dare to appear. I strongly suggest that the Lord of the Blazing Sun be excluded from the Lord of all races. How can this still be a competition? I strongly agree. The highest level Lord faction among my ethnicity is only an advanced grade empire tier Lord faction. How is this Lord of the Blazing Sun still a Lord of all races? It's not an exaggeration to say that he is a race faction. Based on the speed at which he is advancing as a Lord, I reckon that it won't be long before we call him, His Excellency, Lord of the Divine Kingdom. No, a Divine Kingdom Lord faction is completely different from an Empire Tier Lord faction and a Kingdom Level Lord faction. There are too many advancement requirements. It will be very difficult for the Lord of the Blazing Sun to advance to a Divine Kingdom Lord faction in a short period of time. Are you sure? I also think that it shall be very difficult for the Lord of the Blazing Sun to advance to a Divine Kingdom Lord faction. A ethnicity faction with a Divine Kingdom Lord faction can at least call themselves an intermediate grade bloodline race faction. The Lord of the Blazing Sun has the backing of the human race. His foundation is too weak, so it will be very difficult for him to advance to a Divine Kingdom Lord faction. I think it's a little difficult too. I think this Lord of all races competition shall end soon when he advances to a Divine Kingdom Lord faction. Who can withstand a Divine Kingdom Lord faction mixed in with our level? Zhou acknowledged slightly when him saw their discussion. Chapter 1290, Mythical Tier Treasure Chest of the Myriad Races. Requirement to advance to a beginner Divine Kingdom. Divine Kingdom Lord factions were indeed very different from the previous Empire Lord factions and Kingdom Lord factions. It was extremely difficult to advance to a Divine Kingdom Lord faction, This could be seen from the 5 human empires. They clearly had the protection of 5 true God-tier existences, but none of them have ever been promoted to a Divine Kingdom Lord faction. Thinking of this, he opened the Advanced Empire interface. Empire name, Blazing Sun Empire. King, Blazing Sun Emperor. Empire level, Advanced Grade Empire. Imperial flag, all stars cover the sun. Imperial Army, Blazing Sun Army, True God Tier Advanced Grade. Monster Army, True God Tier Advanced Grade. Dragon God Army, True God Tier Advanced Grade. 10,000 Races Army, True God Tier Advanced Grade. Heavenly Map Army, True God Tier Advanced Grade. Homeland Defense Army, Mid-Tier Deity Level Intermediate Grade. Requirements for advancing to the Beginner Divine Kingdom. Territory level advances to the True God Tier Elementary Grade. Capital Region level advances to High-Tier Deity Level. 1,000 True God Tier Elementary Grade Divine Crystals. Conquer 10 high-level Scarlet Empires under the Crimson Overlord. 0/10. Conquer 5 high-level empires that are not under the Crimson Overlord. 0 out of 5. Conquer any beginner-level Divine Kingdom Lord faction, and obtain its True God Tier Elementary Grade Divine Token. 0 to 1. 10 million independent. Regional territories, 100,000 racial heroes. 1,000 God Spirit worshippers of your own race. 1 racial divine artifact of your own race. January 1st. 10 worship true God spirits of your own race. Strength of the Lord yourself reaches True God Tier Elementary Grade, and complete a founding war once. 0 to 1. Zhou frowned deeply after reading it. There's something wrong with this promotion request. Ordinary advanced grade empires definitely don't have so many requirements to advance to a beginner grade Divine Kingdom. And so many perverted requests. He looked at the conditions needed to advance to a beginner Divine Kingdom. The first part was fine. However, something was wrong with the last 3 lines. Under normal circumstances, one only needed 3 true God tiers to consecrate an elementary grade Divine Kingdom. However, this actually required 10 worship true gods. It had more than tripled. The second last rule. The Lord's strength to reach True God Tier Elementary Grade. This was definitely not a requirement for the natives. One only needed to have 3 worship true gods. There had never been any requirements for the individual strength of a lord. It was extremely difficult for the lords to increase their strength, due to the special reasons of the lords themselves. This could be seen from how slowly Zhou's strength increased in the early stages. Therefore, even the Supreme Will was lenient to the lords, and did not have any requirements for their individual strength. It was fine as long as there was a worship true God in their lord's faction. This condition actually changed. Was this change applicable to all the lords, or was it only targeted at the Lord of all races? Zhou could not understand, so he asked the Supreme Will cautiously. The Supreme Will did not reply to him, so Zhou could only pay the price of an ordinary question and ask Bodhi Supreme. In the end, he received an answer that made him sad. The newly added and modified promotion rules were only targeted at the Lord of all races. The promotion requirements of the local Lord factions had not changed. Isn't this fucking targeting me? Zhou had a mental breakdown. He was the only one who was most likely to advance to the Divine Kingdom Lord level at this stage among the lords. However, such a change suddenly appeared. Wasn't this targeting him or something? At this moment, a line of text appeared in front of Zhou. The text notification was very short, and Zhou broke out in cold sweat. Special notification from the Supreme Will. Do you have a problem with that? Zhou. He forced a smile on his face and clapped his hands. There's no such thing. I know that this is a test for us. Lord Supreme Will, don't worry. I will definitely complete the requirements to advance to a beginner Divine Kingdom, and strive to advance as soon as possible. Special notification from the Supreme Will. This is not targeted at you. It's just that I've placed a lot of hope on the lords of all races. If your advancement requirements are the same as the local lords, why did one choose you to participate in the competition of the myriad races? Special notification from the Supreme Will. I want the most outstanding and powerful lord of all races, not an ordinary lord. I understand. Thank you, Lord Supreme Will, for clearing my doubts. Zhou immediately said. The Supreme Will did not reply. Zhou waited for a while. When he realized that there was still nothing, he secretly wiped the cold sweat off his head. Damn, you scared me to death. This was the first time the Supreme Will had asked him such a human-like question. In the past, he could not clearly feel that he had obtained the favor of the Supreme Will, unlike now. It seemed like this big shot was paying attention to him at all times. So much so that even his complaints were heard. At this moment, another line of text appeared. Special reminder from the Supreme Will. In the future, ask the Bodhi Supreme directly if you have ordinary questions. Don't ask me casually. I'm very busy, understand? I understand. I understand. Zhou hurriedly said, and could only forcefully divert his attention and look at the last condition for establishing the Divine Kingdom. Complete a founding battle? I've never heard of this. Zhou had a headache. He subconsciously wanted to ask the Supreme Will, but then he thought of something and shivered. He immediately changed his words and asked Bodhi Supreme. As for this question, well, you'll naturally know when you want to establish the Divine Kingdom. It's not good for me to reveal it, because this is the new founding event established by the Supreme Will. Don't ask the Supreme Will either. Bodhi Supreme actually acted as though it could not say anything. Zhou could only ask, is it difficult? Is it dangerous? Bodhi Supreme did not speak. Zhou frowned slightly. It could not even tell him that. It seemed that he could only deal with it when the time came. Hopefully it won't be too difficult. However, with my current strength and faction, if even one can't survive this so-called founding war, all the lords in the world probably won't be able to advance to Divine Kingdom level. At the thought of this, Zhou felt much more relaxed. He should be able to defeat that founding war, right? At this moment, Zheng Yuanqi sent a message to celebrate the Blazing Sun Empire, becoming an advanced great empire. When Zhou saw this, he waved his hand and handed the celebration of the advancement to the empire to the other party. When the time came, he could just get Zhou managed to appear when he was required. Zheng Yuanqi immediately accepted the order, and immediately went to do it. On Zhou's side, after this interruption, he stopped thinking about the founding war, and turned to look at the reward for building an advanced empire. First was the mythical tier treasure chest. He opened the treasure chest, and saw a total of 110 bottles of potions neatly placed inside. Among them, 100 bottles of true God tier potential advancement potion could increase the potential of a life form to the level of true God tier advanced grade. The other 10 bottles were Master God tier potential advancement potions that could increase the potential of life forms to the Master God tier advanced grade. Not bad. Zhou was quite satisfied when he saw this. In the mythical tier treasure chest rewarded by the intermediate grade empire last time, he was only rewarded with 10 bottles of true God tier potential advancement potion and 1 bottle of Master God tier potential advancement potion. This time, it was 10 times more, which was really worth it. Chapter 1291. Purchasing a General Race Divine Artifact, Venus. Box Novel. CM Zhou threw all no bottles of potential advancement potion into the military merit exchange system, and set a suitable price for the soldiers to exchange. Then, he looked at the list of insight defections, the list of new god spirits, and the supreme conquest statistics in the war summary. In the entire day, he and the 312 lords of the Star Alliance under him had a total of 5,821,212,333,203 soldiers of the people of foreign races, 17,125 god spirits of the people of foreign races, and 118 true god tier. In addition, in the army under him, 10,600 legendary tier soldiers had advanced from legendary tier advanced grade to low tier deity level elementary grade, and 19 high tier deity level advanced grade god spirits had advanced to true god tier elementary grade god spirits. The Supreme Conquest Lord talent statistics were as follows. In addition, in the army under him, 25,100 legendary tier soldiers had advanced from legendary tier advanced grade to low tier deity level elementary grade, and 25 high-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirits had advanced to true god-tier elementary grade god spirits. No professionals subjects. 1,860 trillion 150. 5,054. 06,008,721. Professionals. Life plus battle 6,052,665,067,041. Heroes. 1,852,123. God spirits. Low-tier deity level plus mid-tier deity level plus high-tier deity level 502,122. True God tier. 65 true God tier elementary grade God spirits. 50 true God tier intermediate grade God spirits. 18 true God tier advanced grade God spirits. Zhou nodded slightly after reading it. He originally had 3,888,837,595,691,689 troops. 3,641,350 God spirits. And 1,944 true God tier. If the additional soldiers and God spirits mentioned above were included, he would have 3,893,987,647,575,617 soldiers, 4,143,472 God spirits, and 1,960 true God tier under him. They could reach 5,000 trillion soldiers tomorrow. Zhou was filled with anticipation. Then, he looked at Zhou Fight and Zhou Marshall's situation. In the entire day, Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu had conquered a total of 5 Divine Kingdom Lord factions, 182 Empire Tier Lord factions, and a total of 13,570,000 Lord factions around the Cerulean planet. He obtained a total of 22,531,255,000 hegemony points, and 1,801,250 obscure lordship points. Previously, Zhou had a total of 20,624,772,000 hegemony points, and 1,611,500 obscure lordship points. Now, including these hegemony points and the obscure lordship points, he now has a total of 43,134,220,000 hegemony points, and 3,412,750 obscure lordship points. When Zhou saw so many obscure lordship points, he immediately revealed a look of joy. Moreover, when our citizens make a major breakthrough in the future, the probability of breaking through will increase by an additional 10%. Cheer for the magnificent feat of our great ruler, Your Excellency. Boom! The surprise and doubts in the hearts of countless Blazing Sun Empire subjects were explained. All the citizens of the Blazing Sun Empire went crazy. In the Empire's channel, countless subjects were spamming crazily. In the end, they turned into a string of words. Long live His Majesty! 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 At this moment, no one interrupted the formation. No one dared, and no one was willing. This was because this was the heartfelt action of all the subjects of the Blazing Sun Empire. At the same time, Zhou looked at the Empire announcement drafted and issued by Zero, and the corners of his mouth twitched a few times. He only wanted the subjects to tell the Blazing Sun Empire subjects what had happened. How did it end up like this? Great magnificent feat, cheering. Even though Zhou was someone who liked others to flatter him, he had not reached this stage. He blushed after reading the announcement. Did he really deserve these adjectives? Of course His Majesty can be called great. In Zero's eyes, no one could compare to His Majesty among the countless heroes of the human race since ancient times. Even Your Excellency Pengu, who led the rise of the human race, is inferior to His Majesty in terms of contributions to the human race. There's no need to feel ashamed, Your Majesty. You can withstand the praise of the people. Zero immediately said after hearing Zhou's muttering. Zhou looked at the virtual screen in front of him. The cheers and excited expressions of the citizens of the various races from all over the Blazing Sun Empire, including the human race, gradually faded away, and finally turned into a gentle smile. Chapter 1292. Who will fight me if the Supreme God realm is not out? Mysterious commodity. Box novel. CM at the same time. Just as Venus disappeared from the obscure lord's shop, the lord of all races, and the upper echelons of the races behind them immediately went crazy. Who exchanged for Venus? I must destroy the other party, and snatch the race's divine artifact in his hand. Who else could it be? Only the mortal lord of the mortal empire. This is also a lord of all races from the human race. Only he has enough obscure lord shop points to exchange for Venus, the only commodity worth as much as 2 million obscure lord shop points. That's right, it's him. Just now, my subordinate who specially watched the hidden lord shop told me that this human lord's obscure lord shop points originally had more than 2 million, but it suddenly became more than 1 million. Didn't he use the entire 2 million obscure lord shop points that disappeared to exchange for planet Venus? Where else can he use them? Damn it! Who is this mortal lord? Hasn't the intelligence department gathered information about him? A bunch of trash. How bold! The other party actually dares to intercept what our Titan god race wants. Mortal lord, right? Does he really think he's the second lord of the blazing sun? He actually dares to be our enemy. Give the order to gather all the forces in the universe that can join forces and destroy this lord of the mortal empire for me. We must obtain Venus no matter what the price is. All the factions of the 10,000 races were discussing the mortal lord of the mortal empire that had obtained Venus. The mortal lord who had obtained Venus had undoubtedly become a thorn in the side of the lords of the myriad races and the factions of the myriad races. Everyone wanted to destroy the mortal lord and obtain Venus. A war against the mortal lords began with astonishing efficiency. At the same time, at the place of origin, one of the 10 great master gods, the original master god, was looking at the information in front of him. This information was about the mortal empire and mortal lords. His eyes darkened after reading it. It's fine if a reincarnated Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Realm wants to participate in this lord of all races competition to change his fate. He actually dares to take what our original spirit race wants. Courting death. He communicated with the higher-ups of the original spirit race in his mind and released this information. Then, he ordered the original spirit race to eliminate the mortal lords and obtain the race's divine artifact, Venus, at all costs, before the other races. The higher-ups of the original spirit race immediately accepted the order and went to do it. When Yuan saw this, he closed his eyes and began to comprehend the incomparably mysterious Lord Law again. While he had yet to touch the threshold of the Lord's laws, he was still persevering, not giving up any opportunities or time. That was because that represented the possibility of becoming a supreme god realm expert. The Shepherd's God race, Chaos God's race, Myriad Spirit race, Dragon race, all the top races were acting against the mortal lords. At this moment, Zhou was reading the content of the subject's chat on the Empire channel of the Blazing Sun Empire. It was now a high-level Empire channel that could accommodate up to 10 trillion subjects, which was the number of capital units. It was more than enough to pull all the Blazing Sun Empire subjects into this channel. Other than that, after advancing to an advanced grade empire, the upper limit of the subsidiary kingdoms that the Blazing Sun Empire could have had also increased to 100,000 lord factions of the beginner kingdom, 10,000 intermediate kingdom factions, 1,000 advanced kingdom factions, 100 beginner empire factions, and 10 advanced grade empire factions. If these subsidiary kingdom spots were used well, it was enough to gather a batch of good race factions for Zhou. At this moment, Zhou, who was enjoying the cheers of the citizens in the Empire channel, suddenly felt a warning in his heart. After Zhou sensed this warning, he calmly turned off the Empire's channel and did some divination. Then, he knew the source of this warning, so it's targeted at the mortal empire. There was no panic on Zhou's face. In fact, a faint smile appeared on his lips. Come on. The more the merrier. My 10,000 spirit saint has been using a sledgehammer to kill chickens these few days. If you guys didn't come, I wouldn't even be able to use my 10,000 spirit saint happily. If you guys didn't come, my faction would have grown much slower. He muttered to himself with a smile. Small-scale wars were completely meaningless to him, with his current strength. Only a large-scale war could allow him to obtain astonishing growth. Using the identity of the mortal empire to exchange for Venus would attract the attention of the myriad races. Didn't Zhou think of this beforehand? No, of course he had thought of it. He had also expected this scene. However, he didn't refuse. He even welcomed these enemies very much. In fact, the attack of the myriad races this time was actually created by him. Otherwise, how could he grow so quickly? To the current him, unless there was a high-level bloodline race, or also a top-notch bloodline race that used their entire clan's strength to deal with him, ordinary forces would pose no threat to him at all. He would not gain much growth also if he won. Only whenever the races attacked would he feel a sense of danger. Only then would his lord power increase by leaps and bounds after victory. Of course, his greatest confidence was still in the War Master God, the Wisdom Master God, and the Machina Master God. These three Master God tier were his greatest confidence in facing the attacks of every races. With the backing of these three Master God tiers and his 5 Master God tier clones, Zhou Fight, Zhou Marshal, Zhou Manage, Zhou Tianming and Zhou Win, 8 Master God tier level combatants could ensure that nothing major would happen to he and his territory. Since that was the case, then he would fight against every the races in the world. If the Supreme God realm doesn't appear, who can compete with me? Zhou's voice was filled with unquestionable confidence and dominance. Then, he looked at the other treasures in the obscure lord's shop. 1 low-tier deity level elementary grade Star Destroyer cannon. 1 low-tier deity level elementary grade basic sun energy cover. 1 low-tier deity level elementary grade blue bird. 10 potential advancement potions. 10,000 kingdom level soldier types. Spacewalker classification certificate. 100 empire tier soldier types. Star Knight classification certificate. 1 divine kingdom soldier type. Universe legendary class change certificate. Zhou swept his gaze around and spent 15 million obscure lord shop points to buy it. At this point, Zhou still had 272,750 obscure lord shop points left. In the next second, a text notification appeared in front of Zhou. Notice, you have bought every the goods in the obscure lord shop on the first day. Congratulations, you have acquired a mysterious good. Zhou's eyes lit up. Didn't he buy every the goods just for this? Chapter 1293. Abstruse God Forbidden Pill. Zhou looked at the purple bag that appeared out of thin air in front of him. The bag was the size of a palm, and its surface was engraved with complicated patterns. It looked beautiful and mysterious. He reached out and took it. He opened the bag and saw a pill quietly placed inside. A pill? 11 Zhou was stunned according to the hint given previously. The mysterious goods were all treasures needed by the Lord. He was not injured and did not have anything. Why would he give medicinal pills? However, when he saw the pill's information, he was stunned. Then, he was overjoyed. Treasure name: Abstruse God Forbidden Pill. Treasure grade: Master God tier elementary grade. Treasure effect: when a high-tier deity level advanced grade God spirit absorbs it, the Lord will directly break through the bottleneck and advance to a true God tier elementary grade God spirit. He will also comprehend a nomological skill that belongs to his own nomological path. Treasure introduction: create a high-level divine pill personally refined by a supreme God realm. It can allow a God spirit to become a true God tier without any bottleneck, and can comprehend any nomological technique on the nomological path. Comprehending any law path's law skill. In other words, even if I walk the rarest Lord Law path, I can still comprehend a Lord Law skill. Zhou's eyes lit up. That was a Lord Law skill. Even though he had many fortuitous encounters, he had only grasped 2 Lord Law skills at the moment. He had only comprehended a little of the 3rd Lord Law skill, and had yet to completely comprehend it. From this, it could be seen how rare Lord Law skills were. He did not expect that this abstruse God-forbidden pill could not only allow him to advance to the low-level true God tier elementary grade, but also allow him to comprehend a Lord Law skill. Compared to the Lord's Law skill, the effect of advancing to the true God tier elementary grade was not that stunning. This treasure is indeed what one need the most now. Zhou grinned. Then, he solemnly stored this treasure in his first treasure vault. He was only a high-tier deity-level intermediate grade now. He had yet to break through to the high-tier deity-level advanced grade, and was currently unable to use this divine restriction-breaking pill. He would use it when he reached the high-tier deity-level advanced grade. Then, he looked at the other ordinary goods. Star Destroyer Cannon, Elementary Solar Energy Shield, Blue Bird, Potential Advancement Potion, Spacewalker Class Change Certificate, and Heavenly Knight Class Change Certificate. Zhou only took a glance and skipped them. He looked expectantly at the only Divine Kingdom Soldier Type Universe Legendary Class Change Certificate. A Divine Kingdom Soldier type that cultivates the main Bodhis cosmic technique. He has an incomparably powerful physical body, and the #1 telekinesis in the universe. It can attack and defend, as expected of a Divine Kingdom Soldier type. Zhou sighed. The only pity was that the Divine Kingdom Soldier type could not be promoted on a large scale. Otherwise, he would really want to replace the Forbidden Mage, or Arichi Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier under him. Even though these two Empire-tier soldier types were very strong, they were even comparable to some weaker Divine Kingdom soldiers. However, it was not a true Divine Kingdom soldier type. It would be eliminated sooner or later, facing stronger opponents in the future. As for the Divine Kingdom soldier type, Holy Dragon Knight that he had recently mastered, due to the training time and the number of dragons, it could not be promoted on a large scale in his massive army of nearly 4,000 trillion. Currently, he didn't have more than 1 billion Holy Dragon Knights under him. This number was enough to be invincible for an Empire-tier faction. However, the effect was actually still average against a Divine Kingdom Lord faction. I need monster demons who can drop Divine Kingdom Soldier type class change certificate and Divine Kingdom Soldier type recruitment books. As long as one can find this monster demon and promote it in the Scarlet Brood Mother, one can quickly obtain a Divine Kingdom Soldier type army that can expand infinitely. Zhou muttered to himself. Then, he thought for a moment and simply issued a bounty announcement to the Supreme Continent and the entire myriad worlds. There was a reward for fog monsters that could drop Divine Kingdom Soldier type class change certificate or Divine Kingdom Soldier type recruitment books. He had no intention of hiding anything. With his current strength and influence, he no longer needed to hide anything. He would just say what he wanted directly. A faction was secretly obstructing them? It was over just now. The era of timid development is over. It was now Zhou's era of head-on PK1. If he wanted something, he had to buy it or go to war, which were the most direct ways to obtain them. After throwing the Universe Legend class change certificate into the military merit exchange system, Zhou casually opened the Obscure Lord shop on the first day and took a look. In the end, he saw something very surprising. Obscure Lord shop. Day 1 smiley face, time-limited open goods. Quantity, unique unknown price. Note: this item will be put on sale in 5 days. Lords who are interested in purchasing it, please prepare enough Obscure Lord shop points before the item is put on sale. Day 1 commodities. Waiting for refresh. Something like Venus will be refreshed again in 5 days? Zhou raised his eyebrows slightly. This should be a way for the Supreme Will to encourage us to fight each other, so that we can fight more frequently and obtain more Obscure Lord shop points. Only then can we exchange for items in time when they respawn. It's an open conspiracy. He lamented. Then his expression turned serious as he muttered to himself. Looks like I'll have to do my best in the next 5 days to collect Obscure Lord shop points. However, he had long had this thought, so he wasn't too affected. Then, he sent someone to call Mu Gu, Zheng Fugui, and Carol Moeli over. Greetings, Your Majesty. After the 3 of them arrived, they immediately greeted each other respectfully. This emperor's territory has already advanced to a high-tier deity level elementary grade now. Tell me about your respective advancements. The current him wouldn't be afraid of any enemy. Yes, your majesty, the three of them said respectfully. Then Mugu was the first to speak. Your majesty, the current level of the Scarlet Brood Mother, that Imin has been upgraded from a mid-tier deity level advanced grade to a high-tier deity level elementary grade. The number of Mist Mothers that had evolved from the mid-tier deity level advanced grade Scarlet Brood Mother has increased from 150,000 to 200,000. Every Mist Mother's Mist Mother world can now nurture 1 billion fog monsters. 300,000 Mist Mothers can nurture a total of 300 trillion misty monsters. In addition, the quality and efficiency of cultivating high-quality Scarlet Heirs has also increased. Currently, I can nurture 1 low-level True God Scarlet True God tier in a day, or 10 high-tier deity level advanced grade Scarlet God Spirits, or 100 mid-tier deity level Scarlet God Spirits, and 1,000 low-tier deity level Scarlet God Spirits. Zhou raised his eyebrows slightly. That was indeed the case. The Scarlet Brood Mother, which had been promoted to a low-level high-tier deity level, could already nurture a Scarlet True God tier. This was a high-tier deity level elementary grade Scarlet Brood Mother, not a True God tier elementary grade Scarlet Brood Mother. He wondered what would happen when the Scarlet Brood Mother became True God tier elementary grade. However, even though it sounded tempting, Zhou, who did not lack True God tiers for the time being, still had no intention of nurturing the Scarlet True God tier. It was better to nurture ordinary fog monsters with all his might, and continuously produce recruitment books and class change certificates. Chapter 1294, Lord Talent Improvement. He thought for a moment and said, among your 300,000 Mist Mothers, leave 60,000 to specially nurture the Iron-Eating Bear and the Withered Tree. As for the other 240,000 Mist Mothers, 120,000 will be used to nurture the Violent Storm Demon Spirit, and the other 120,000 will be used to nurture the Yellow Talisman Dao Soldiers. After Zhou finished speaking, he could not help but look forward to it. That was a total of 240,000 Mist Mothers. It could nurture a total of 240 trillion Mother Nest monsters. With the enhancement of the King of Loots and other Lord Talents and titles, he could obtain 480 trillion Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier recruitment books, 480 trillion Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier class change certificates, 480 trillion Violent Storm Spirit recruitment books, and 480 trillion Violent Storm Spirit class change certificates tomorrow. If he converted all these recruitment books and class change certificates into new recruits, it would be a total of 1,920 trillion soldiers. There were nearly 2,000 trillion soldiers. He already had more than 3,800 trillion troops, which meant he only needed 4 days to allow his soldiers to exceed 10,000 trillion troops. His troop size would already be in the quadrillions. Such a force, even the AUS Allied Army back then was inferior to him. Indeed, every time my territory upgrades, it will be a shocking increase for my army. Trillions of troops. I wonder who's stronger against the legendary Overlord level Lord faction. Zhou's eyes burned with ambition. After a long time, he gradually calmed down. After a long time, it just so happens that all the races are targeting me. I have to get the Eternal Mothership to come back quickly and transport my troops back and forth. In that case, the active universe can become my super training ground. What a pity. The active universe prohibits the establishment of cross-border teleportation arrays. Only internal teleportation within the active universe is allowed. Otherwise, it'll directly build an alphabet teleportation array on the Cerulean planet and the Supreme Continent and send the army over. Zhou shook his head. He could understand that the Supreme Will was trying to restrict the entry of the forces behind the lords of the various races. By restricting the establishment of cross-border teleportation arrays, he could hand this active universe to the lords of the myriad races to display their strength to the greatest extent. However, he didn't expect that an accident would restrict him, this perverted lord. But then again, While this restricted him, it also restricted the factions of the myriad races that also wanted to show off their skills in the active universe. Otherwise, if the various races were allowed to continue sending people into the active universe to participate in the war, even if it was a super large universe, it would probably be destroyed in minutes. Even if the active universe didn't explode, the pressure that Zhou was facing at this moment would probably increase by thousands of times. To Zhou, this was not an opportunity, but a blatant disaster. Even though the restrictions of the Supreme Will limited him, to a certain extent, overall, it still protected him. Therefore, Zhou did not have any resentment towards the Supreme Will. Yes, Your Majesty. At this moment, Mu Gu heard Zhou's order and respectfully acknowledged before retreating. Seeing this, Zheng Fugui stepped forward. Reporting to Your Majesty, the number of mysterious merchants has increased from 2 billion to 5 billion after our territory advanced to the high-tier deity-level elementary grade. The number of carriages transporting goods has also increased to 5 billion. All of our mysterious merchants' strength has also increased to the high-tier deity-level elementary grade. Our treasure hunting ability has improved again. In the future, when we go out to do business, we should be able to bring back at least 2,000 god-tier treasures each time. He said respectfully. Zhou nodded. He clicked his tongue in his heart. 5 billion high-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirits. What an exaggeration. At the same time, he became much more clear-headed after seeing this number. Perhaps a faction like the mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce was the top faction of the myriad races in the myriad worlds. Even though he had a large number of troops, he was still much inexperienced in the face of such a terrifying faction that had hundreds of millions of god spirits. Don't be proud, don't be arrogant. Zhou, who had woken up, warned himself in his heart. When his faction was stronger than the top faction in the myriad worlds like the mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce, perhaps he would have the right to be truly proud. Your Majesty. At this moment, Zheng Fugui suddenly spoke again. The mysterious auction will be held at 23 o'clock p.m. sharp tonight. At that time, His Majesty can participate as if it were a dream. His Majesty was invited to the auction by our mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce. After His Majesty enters the dream entering, there will naturally be internal personnel from our mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce, who will personally arrange the follow-up matters for His Majesty. Zhou nodded. This was the benefit of having an insider. After Zheng Fugui finished speaking, Carol Moeli stood up and said respectfully, reporting to Your Majesty. Your Majesty, after the territory was upgraded to a high-tier deity-level elementary grade, our life arc already has 20 trillion clergymen, 20 trillion priests, 20 trillion nuns, and 200 trillion life holy knights. These clergymen are enough to complete war healing missions and revive wars with 30,000 trillion troops. Also, currently, there are already 500,000 high-level members of the Life Arc God Spirit. Every one of them has mastered the resurrection spells, and they can resurrect the deities of our country alone. As for my strength, I've officially advanced to Master God Tier Elementary Grade. I can already resurrect life forms below that level. Okay. Zhou's eyes lit up and an extremely obvious smile appeared on his face. Carol Moeli had finally advanced and reached the elementary grade of Master God Tier. She could revive life forms at Master God Tier Elementary Grade. After his territory level advanced to the high-tier deity level, it was indeed a huge increase. Even Carol Moeli, who had not been promoted in 10,000 years, had been promoted. Even though there are no other Master God Tier experts in my territory other than me. However, soon, I will have a group of Master God Tier experts under my command. Zhou smiled faintly. Then, he chatted with Mu Gu and company for a while before letting them leave. Zhou did not continue to comprehend the Lord's laws before the mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce began. Instead, he found Leah and spent some time with her. With the Blazing Sun Empire's huge resources, Leah had already advanced to become a high-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirit. Moreover, as the mother of the Empire, She also had the inheritance of a top-notch god spirit, who was a master god tier advanced grade. It was also very likely that she would become a master god tier in the future. After spending time with Liya, the two of them fell asleep with their clothes on. In a lucid dream, Zhou found himself standing in front of a building about 1,000 light-years tall. This building was mainly purple in color, and on the highest floor of the building, there was a word written with law engravings. Commercial. Chapter 1295, Reincarnation Island. Myriad Race Alliance. Fate Card Association. Zhou looked at the word, and could actually sense an extremely profound nomological aura from it. Moreover, it was the aura of a Lord's Law. The existence who wrote this word probably achieved Lord Law with the law of commerce. Zhou muttered to himself. The essence of a Lord's Law was control. However, there were thousands of forms of governance. A god spirit controlled the mind, and became the master of the spirit. A god spirit controlled all flames, and became the supreme flame emperor. A god spirit ruled the common people, and became the common people's heavenly lord. A god spirit commanded all techniques, and became the myriad god emperor. The existence that wrote the word commercial in front of him was obviously a lord who became a god spirit through the law of commerce. As for whether it was born or acquired, Zhou vaguely felt that it was acquired. Perhaps it was his intuition as an innate lord. The mysterious merchant chamber of commerce is indeed powerful. There's actually a supreme god realm who walks the Lord's Law behind him. It might even be a will-level existence. Zhou sighed. As for Master God tier, how is that possible? How could the behind-the-scenes master of such a huge chamber of commerce be only a Master God tier? He could only be stronger. At this moment, two purple-robed elven maids standing in front of the building walked over. Greetings, my lord. Today, our mysterious business building is holding the 156th mysterious auction. My lord, can you show me the mysterious invitation? Lords with invitations can enter the mysterious commercial building and participate in this mysterious auction. When Zhou heard that, he handed over the mysterious invitation letter that Zheng Fuguei had given him. This invitation letter was dark purple in color, and there were 3 complicated black patterns on it. The expressions of the 2 purple-robed elven maids changed slightly when they saw the 3 black patterns. A black grade level 3 invitation? One of them subconsciously said, "What's a level 3 black invitation?" Zhou asked curiously. The 2 maids looked at each other and hesitated for a moment. Their expressions became even more respectful. Honorable guest, Black Goods refers to the faction closest to our mysterious merchant chamber of commerce. As for the 3rd level, it's a level of importance among all the closest factions. A member of a level 3 black grade faction, which is you. You're already a target that we, the members of the Chamber of Commerce, need to pay attention to. In the heavens, a 3rd level black grade faction is already equivalent to an overlord level lord faction. If you reach the branch of the mysterious merchant chamber of commerce, you will need the branch president to personally receive you. If the mysterious merchant chamber of commerce has any special chamber of commerce activities on a daily basis, you have to inform the faction like yours immediately. There are also many benefits, big and small. Towards the end, the purple-robed elf maid on the left even took out a small booklet and handed it to Zhou. Zhou took it and flipped through it. The more he read, the more surprised he became. He did not expect the invitation letter that Zheng Fuguei gave him to be so important. I haven't even established a divine kingdom yet, but the mysterious merchant chamber of commerce already views me as an overlord level lord faction? Zhou was surprised. However, on further thought, he realized that the mysterious merchant chamber of commerce's judgment was similar. His current faction level was definitely stronger than most high-level Divine Kingdom Lord factions. Even though he had yet to personally come into contact with Overlord-level Lord factions, even if there was a difference, it shouldn't be much different. Then wouldn't his Blazing Sun Empire's true rating be just slightly weaker than an Overlord-level Lord faction? Such a good rating. Zhou looked at the booklet in his hand, without changing his expression. He was very solemn in his heart. Even though this was only a small matter, one could already tell how powerful the A/Isterious Chamber of Commerce was. Since you said that I'm a third-grade dark grade force, there should be second-grade and first-grade forces, right? Can you explain? Zhou returned it to the other party and asked with a smile after reading the contents of the booklet. The Overlord Level Lord faction, as the top Lord faction in the heavens, could only be ranked at the 3rd level. This made him very curious about the level of faction ahead of him. Upon hearing Zhou's question, the purple-robed elf maid immediately said respectfully, "With your authority, you have the right to know these contents." Generally speaking, a second-grade black-grade faction usually refers to a faction that has some relationship with the Supreme God Realm, or has Supreme God Realm methods. Among them, the most famous are the Original Spirit race, the Shepherd's God race, and the Chaos God's race. As for the first-level black-grade faction, it refers to the faction personally protected by the Supreme God Realm. For example, Reincarnation Island, the Myriad Race Alliance, and the Fate Card Association. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. He had a certain understanding of these 3 factions through his bloodline inheritance. Behind Reincarnation Island stood the Supreme God Realm of Reincarnation. The Reincarnation Island that he controlled was a top organization that nurtured experts. It strengthened itself by sending trial takers called reincarnators to the myriad worlds and letting them plunder the resources of the myriad worlds. The stronger the reincarnators were, the stronger the Reincarnation Island would be. Over the countless years, Reincarnation Island had long become a super organization with countless experts. Moreover, it was still becoming stronger. The Myriad Race Alliance was ruled by a mysterious expert called the Supreme God Realm. When the Myriad Race Alliance was first established, it was only an organization formed by some weak races who did not want to be exploited and oppressed by powerful races. Later on, this organization absorbed more and more weak races, and its power grew. As time passed, it actually became a top-notch organization. Later on, the Myriad Race Organization welcomed the addition of the Supreme God Realm of the Myriad Emperors. With the protection of this top-notch combat power, the Myriad Race Alliance directly became a super organization comparable to the Reincarnation Island. Moreover, because of the foundation of its vast number of weak races, the Myriad Race Alliance was even stronger than Reincarnation Island in terms of reputation in the myriad worlds. As for the Fate Card Association, it was personally created by one of the 4 Supreme God Realms, the Fate Supreme God Realm. The Fate Card Association was very mysterious. It was said that a group of special existences who called themselves the Fate Players gathered inside. They used to play with the fate of the life forms in the myriad worlds for fun to please themselves. There were also god spirits who called them Fate Mad Believers. As most of the Fate Players were behind the scenes, and their actions were very secretive, the factions of the myriad worlds knew very little about this organization and the members of he. Even Zhou, who had many bloodline inheritances, did not know much about the Fate Card Association. "Sir, the mysterious auction is about to begin. Do you want to take a seat now?" The purple-robed elf maid said. "Sure." Zhou came back to his senses and nodded. "Please follow me." The purple-robed maid smiled and led Zhou into the mysterious commercial building. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.